Hannah Gibbs.
All they heard was Hannah Gibbs.
Hello.
You need to wait for me to give you like a...
Oh, yeah. Give me like a 5, 4, 3.
They can't see me doing it, so it's not funny.
See me doing it.
This is legit.
But I can see you doing it, and it is funny.
Ooh.
Thank you.
We're all having a great time.
Affirmation received.
In December. There's Hannah. No, wait,
Hold on.
that's Annie. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen.
New day. Because COVID vaccine.
Okay.
All right, now go.
Hanging on.
Had to mute her.
Here you go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Pre-show. Today is Monday, December 12th, 2022.
12-12-22.
12-12-2-2. That only happens once in a millennia.
And the deuces are wild.
Not true. What? Right? It's like 20 times.
That only happens once in a century. You can say that about every single day, though, don't you?
Oh, man.
Why don't we preview the show?
Yeah,
Sure.
big show today. We're going to have Gregg Jarrett on today at 12:25, so set your calendars for that. Or just stick around.
Gregg, 2 G's.
Yep.
2 G's, 2 R's, 2 T's.
Yes.
So he's a legal and political analyst for Fox News, and he's going to talk to us about James Baker. Do you guys know who James Baker is? Well, if you don't, you will after this. He's the Twitter legal counsel. He was also legal counsel for the
Annie got Fire Creek
FBI.
in 25.
Can you push it?
James Baker has been many things to many people.
And so he's been involved in a lot of scandals, from like the Russia collusion hoax to a bunch of other things. So you won't want to miss that.
Jody wants to know if any of you are still hungover from Friday. Did I miss something?
Yeah.
No, I was drunk for just a tiny bit Friday.
Yeah, right after the alcohol hits his
Actually,
lips.
it was right. It was right when I sat down with you guys and killed me.
He did the same thing that he did at the Rock and Brews. He looked at me and said,
Uh-oh.
I am...
You get too close to alcohol.
And
Like,
it's
just
true.
like osmosis.
It's true. I had one drink. His last,
said-
like,
You asked me what to order.
I
You're like,
didn't
what
know
is that?
Hannah, what should I order?
Ryan, I didn't know you could get contact drunk.
Can you fix the TV?
What's wrong? Oh.
Still not ready.
It's
No,
close, though.
I will
It's
get.
nowadays.
I feel it for like 15 minutes, and then I'm fine.
Is that drunk or is that buzzed?
It depends. It's all relative.
Okay.
I don't
I
know.
think we know
What's
how
the line?
often Ryan heavily drinks
Yeah.
and experiences being drunk. It's pretty much only when Kilmeade's in town.
Yeah. Or when listeners are getting near me.
Did we talk about the rest of the show?
We did not. We also have Steve Moore on at 107, distinguished fellow in economics at Heritage. He's going to join us. He's going to talk to us about the economy.
I got a gift from Hannah's mom.
Ooh, what did Hannah's mom get us?
She got me treats.
You can get us anything.
Yeah, it was told us to me.
Okay, let's
Hope
do
everyone's
Fire
watching
Creek.
This face right now.
We'll have to follow
10
through.
seconds.
Hold on. Stand by. So let's talk about Fire Creek snack sticks. If you were looking for a great gift for some people in your life this holiday season, Fire Creek snack sticks, they definitely have something out there for you. You can go to firecreeksnacks.com, use promo code Annie. You're going to save 15% on your entire order. Now, the things that I like about a Fire Creek snack stick is, as a mother, one of the top things that I like is portability and no regrets and no reservations about the fact that I'm going to hand this over to my kid and let them snack on it. It is a meat stick. It is delicious. They have different flavors. They have some ones that are a little spicier. I like spicy, so those are the ones at the house that I eat. But they also have original and teriyaki that my kids absolutely love. They don't put any extra additives in them. You can feel good about eating them yourself. They're great for the desk drawer, great stocking stuffers, and great gifts for your coworkers, for, maybe the brothers-in-law or whatever it is. Go to firecreeksnacks.com, put in promo code Annie, and save 15% on your holiday order this season. Just stock up for them yourself. You will not regret it. Fire Creek Snack Sticks, online at firecreeksnacks.com.
Hi, George Weber. Check out my alter ego, Skip Weber, every Saturday night, 9 to 11. The Saturday Evening Rock Show, the greatest rock and roll show on a talk station in the world. Don't miss it.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom.
It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Twitter is doing something like 90 billion impressions every day. They don't cover it because it makes liberals and Democrats look bad because of the positions they've taken, and it justifies and exemplifies what Republicans were saying. And conservatives, we were saying, hey, we were being shadow banned. Hey, you're blocking us. You're not allowing us to play on an even playing field. And now that that's being proven right, they're not going to cover it. They're not going to do that story.
Well, that's Jason Chaffetz talking about the way a lot of you listening right now have felt about the release of the Twitter files. And I'm here to tell you I am combing through the Twitter files as they come out, and I just want an article. I get why they're doing it on Twitter. I understand exactly the why it's being delivered this way, but it's not the easiest way to consume. So if you haven't followed along completely, or if you've tried to follow along and it seems a little jumbled and garbled, we're going to cover it for you today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. We're going to keep on top of this story so that we can make sure that we report what is actually happening and not be speculative as to what will happen in the future. I think it's important to do that. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. We had a fantastic Friday evening event with Brian Kilmeade, who was in town. 400 tickets sold out pretty quickly, and it was a crowded room, and it was such a wonderful night to spend with you if you were there to spend with Brian Kilmeade. I thought it was an incredible evening. Thank you to everybody who came out. Thank you to Straight Realty, who sponsored the event, and for the Missouri Athletic Club, who hosted us. The next time we bring somebody to St. Louis, I had a lot of people reach out or react to some of the photos that I put up. Super bummed that you didn't get the opportunity to get tickets. The next time that we bring somebody into St. Louis, I'm going to tell you about them right here on the show the second that I am permitted to do so. And I want you to go grab your tickets so that I get to meet you this time. Okay? Everybody, hands in the middle. Go team. We're going to make that happen. So in the midst of this, Brian Kilmeade is in town on Friday night. And of course, Friday night is the new Twitter dump for the Twitter files. And I'm trying to meet everybody there and welcome Brian Kilmeade to St. Louis with my friends Mark Cox and Mark Reardon at this event. And these Twitter files are dropping. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to sit down and I need to read these. The Friday night before that they had released these Twitter files, I was at a junior high basketball game sitting in the stands. So it was a little easier for me to just comb through them at that location. I couldn't do it last Friday. Is it complicated for you? I think what ends up happening, and I've realized this myself, something that can end up happening when that is the case, when the circumstances surrounding the ability to consume them, especially when there's like 65 tweets long, is the whole thread of one of the Twitter file dumps. I think that was 3. What ends up happening is you're like, I'll get the Cliff's Notes later. And then what we talk about here on the show all the time is you end up getting the Cliff's Notes, but you get it from somebody who has a thought and opinion on it that maybe you trust, but you consume it through the lens of how they perceive it. Of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's what, when you spend time with me here on 97.1 FM Talk, noon to 3, you're getting my take on things. So that is what it is. But anytime you can get source information, and the Twitter files themselves are being released to the American people through Twitter, through journalists who also have an angle, but they're providing original sources, email exchanges, Slack communications, which it is not lost on me that you might be hearing the phrase Slacks and a Slack message, and you might not understand that Slack is a way that a lot of businesses communicate with one another. It's just it's like a digital hub where people who are working on projects together or in an organization together, they can communicate through messaging. So if you put a Slack, if you I don't know, make a Slack, do you know? Or I don't know. You are basically essentially posting a message. So anytime you see the word Slack or slacks, it's not pants. They're talking about message posting within an organization. You see all these things being exchanged, and you get to see the words of the original sender of that message in an email at Twitter. And so you get to kind of consume it for yourself and react for yourself. It's important, I think now more than ever, to consume the most original source information that you can when it comes to what Twitter was participating in. And this is not going to be just an indictment on Twitter. In fact, a lot of where I'm leaning to right now is this is much more an indictment about how our government system and political system works. Who gets to lean into connections they have in high places? There was one communication that went back and forth between Yoel Roth, who was supposed to be like really, really near the top dude, worked for Elon Musk for like a week and a half or something. And his job was, I think it was like trust and safety or something, I don't know. And they were talking about a Mike Huckabee tweet. And Mike Huckabee, tongue-in-cheek, tweets out that he went to vote and then he was going to go home. And in his tweet, he talks about how he's going to go home and vote for all of his dead relatives with mail-in ballots. So Huckabee is making a sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek joke through a tweet, and everybody knows that Mike Huckabee is making a joke. And when I say everybody knows, even the people at Twitter know that he's making a joke. And in this exchange back and forth, where they're discussing this joke that was posted by former Governor Mike Huckabee, they are illustrating the fact that even though we understand that this is a, in their words, poor attempt at humor, it still could be misleading for other people. This is the part, and I don't know, maybe this was like the lead story on all the Sunday shows. I didn't see it. In all of these communications that I'm seeing being shared, and there's so much information being shared with you right now on Twitter. Matt Taibbi, Barry Weiss, there's a third one that's sharing these stories. In the conversation that took place at Twitter behind what should we do with Mike Huckabee's tweet, where it's pretty clear he's making a joke. And here's the thing about humor, folks. It's kind of in the eye of the beholder. Is it funny? Well, that's up for you to decide. But just because you don't think it's funny doesn't mean that it's bad humor. It's just not humor for you. The conversation that takes place at Twitter, the way they choose to police Huckabee's tweet saying that he voted and was going to go home and vote for his dead relatives through mail-in ballots or whatever it was, is to, I think they labeled it for potentially misleading information. But here's where I get real concerned. They said, let's wait and see what the reactions, the replies, the comments to this tweet, let's wait and see what it bears out. They are going to allow, in their opinion, Mike Huckabee's dangerous or misleading tweet, which, even though it's obviously a joke, is implying that maybe dead people are voting through mail-in ballots. Because they don't find his humor funny, and because it's misleading to their ideology, their way of thinking, they are going to permit the people, users on Twitter, to react. And if the people on Twitter react in a way that earns the approval of the powers that be at Twitter, then Mike Huckabee's tweet gets to stay. That's the concern that rises to the top for me in all of this, because the implications, the tentacles of that particular mentality, which is truly policing speech in our country, to suggest that the only way that a dissenting viewpoint, a former presidential candidate, governor of Arkansas, well-known name, host of a television show, the only way that this prominent conservative's tweet gets to remain on Twitter is if the proper dissent follows. Now, if you pair the understanding that we have that Twitter would suppress Twitter accounts, probably like mine own, and I would think of mine as like a D level, C- level Twitter account on Twitter. I don't even know how many followers. I have Twitter open right now. I have 17,000 followers. That's not bad. I'm pretty proud of that, but it's nothing compared to the people who like really, really use Twitter as a way to lead their ability to communicate with people. My lead is right here with you right now on a radio station in the afternoon. That's my bread and butter. Even Twitter accounts like mine would be flagged, would be suppressed, so that if I were to reply to Governor Huckabee's tweet, it would fall below the tweets that they are waiting to amplify what they consider to be misleading about Mike Huckabee's tweet in the first place. That's incredibly dangerous. Because in all of that policing, what happens if the ideology or the perspective or the understanding, even if it's completely without malice, what if the particular issue, maybe not this one, but maybe a different, what if the understanding of where Twitter sits on an issue, their perspective, their opinion on an issue, what if it's wrong? What if there is a story that sweeps the nation before people can find out it's completely untrue? What if somebody says in front of a television camera, a local television camera, he had his hands up and he said, "Don't shoot"? What if that story gets out there in such a magnificently large way that it can't possibly be retracted when we find out that was, in fact, incredibly untrue? The understanding of the hands up, don't shoot mantra and how that fueled what became Black Lives Matter. The entire idea that there are people who are in our country putting their hands up saying don't shoot and being shot in the street. That's a very dangerous narrative when it is untrue. If the perspective, if the understanding of Twitter, if they were to see that initial TV report of a man who lies to cameras and they choose that to be their ideology because, listen, it was on a local news. It was reported by the local news. That guy was there. He said he saw it himself. It's an eyewitness report. If Twitter soaks that in and allows that to set their opinion and narrative and they shut down anything else that suggests otherwise, then the truth has been squashed because an opinion has been amplified. And that could be done in a potentially, like I said, no malicious intent. If you see that story and you hear that as an eyewitness report, you heard that to be true, anybody who would hear that story, if it would have been true, that should break your heart. But it just wasn't true. It wasn't the story of what happened to Michael Brown and Ferguson. But the truth was not important in that instance years ago. And we find ourselves in a situation where you could still go to protests that involve Black Lives Matter today and see signs that say that. Because the message became more important than the truth. And the narrative became a bigger priority than getting to the bottom of what really happened. And Twitter has proven they have a perspective. They have an opinion. Is that okay? You bet it is. But not if they are going to disallow people whose opinions dissent from being present on their platform where people are invited to come and speak. They cannot dismiss a certain kind of person and amplify others and enjoy the privileges that they have enjoyed up until this point by choosing to disallow your thoughts and opinions to be shared on Twitter as well. And that's what they've been doing. Like I said at the beginning of this, I want you to pay attention to what we know. I know that we all have thoughts about where this road is heading. I know that we all have the idea of where we've been and where we're going, but pay attention to what we know. And stick with the Annie Frey Show to hear from the experts. Because James Baker, he's a guy who's been stitched into this entire situation and controversy after controversy after controversy. Why is James Baker always there? When it comes to getting to the bottom of these details, we go to the experts. And when we come back, Gregg Jarrett is going to join us. He's a legal and political analyst for Fox News, and he's going to talk to us about James Baker and his involvement in several of the controversies that have happened over the last few years. You can stick with us and get the lay of the land. If you have questions that you want me to ask Gregg Jarrett, you can always go to the YouTube live chat and submit those. I try to pay attention to as many as I can. Maybe I'll get your question asked. But here's the YouTube live chat poll for today. Have you ever switched political parties? Yes or no? This is definitely one of those questions where I want to see your comments as well. Hannah's going to be watching them throughout the show. She always gives us the results in the 2:45 segment, but she also features your comments and your thoughts on the YouTube live chat poll. So go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote. Have you ever switched political parties? Gregg Jarrett on the Annie Frey Show when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Hi, my name is Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair. In honor of our newest location in Cottleville, for any new customers, simply come into any of our 6 locations and ask us to pay the first $50, and we will. That's right. That means brakes, suspension, alignments, air conditioning, even our auto body work. Please come see our team or visit us at CompleteAB.com. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Roadmap Technologies is asking you if you're happy with your IT services. Are you? Do you feel comfortable that your IT is safe and secure? Do you feel comfortable that whatever, bills that you have, maybe you pay annually, maybe you pay monthly to make sure that your information is protected, that your systems are protected, that your employees have the software access that they need? Roadmap Technologies can give you a roadmap to make sure that all of these boxes are checked and also that you're not overpaying for different types of services or software that you don't need. They can make sure that all of your licensure is up to date and accurate. You can work with this veteran-owned business to make sure that your IT for your small business is under control and breathe that sigh of relief that you don't have to be the IT tech service person in your business. Get back to the business of providing those services or making those products or serving the customers that have helped make your business a success so far. Hand Roadmap Technologies the opportunity to protect your IT in your business. Call them at 314-222-0057, roadmaptech.com.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
We expect our information in real time. U.S. Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. U.S. Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 800-730-8405 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check. As easy as, that's 800-730-8405.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
If you're a fan of 97.1, get a t-shirt. Visit 971talk.com/merch to see all the new t-shirt designs and show your support for St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Look, I think the fact that Elon Musk fired James Baker, who was Twitter's top lawyer and had been the top lawyer at the FBI during the entire Russiagate controversy, and he was right in the center of that and had to leave. And then he pops up at Twitter 5 months before the election. It looks very much as if his role was to be the gatekeeper for any information that might be detrimental to Joe Biden.
So there's Miranda Devine talking about the connection between James Baker and, good grief, Twitter and how many other different places. But if you go to thegreggjarrett.com, you can see an article called Musk's Decision to Fire James Baker is an important step in cleaning up Twitter. Step implies to me that there is a lot more to come, and we have the man himself, Gregg Jarrett, here, a legal and political analyst for Fox News Channel, to talk to us about his article and James Baker and Twitter and all of the connections. Greg, thank you for your time today. It's a great honor to have you here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Annie. Good to be with you.
Thank you. So just give me your top-line thoughts on the revelation that James Baker was connected to Twitter the way he was. Was that surprising to you, and what does that indicate that he's had all of these connections, connecting these dots over the years and all of these different controversies?
Yeah, it's no coincidence that Baker, general counsel formerly of the FBI, suddenly happily lands at Twitter. He was acting as an operative at Twitter for the FBI and a mole. And, you know, you'll remember Baker is the same character who fueled the Russia collusion hoax. He was a conduit for the anti-Trump smears that were invented by Hillary Clinton and her Confederates. And, you know, he spied on the Trump campaign through a FISA warrant, lied to the court to gain the warrant. He testified he was intimately involved in crafting that lawless warrant. And, you know, together with James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, they all worked together back in the day to drive Trump from office. So, you know, as I explained in my column, he was a natural to join Twitter. It gave the agency an insider to social media. Now we know, through some of these Twitter files, as well as a separate censorship lawsuit, that there was an FBI agent by the name of Elvis Chan who was meeting every week before the 2020 presidential election to warn them about Russian disinformation related to the Hunter Biden laptop story. And once the story came out, of course, both Twitter and Facebook censored it. And so that was the handiwork of James Baker and like-minded people at Twitter, the progressive elites who would, you know, make your tweets vanish into a cyber black hole.
We're speaking with Gregg Jarrett. He's also the author of The Russia Hoax and Witch Hunt. I would imagine you've logged a lot of hours looking into the background of both the Russia collusion suggestion that turned out to be a hoax, the witch hunt against President Trump. Do you look at what is being revealed now through these Twitter files? Does it fill in any of the gaps that maybe you might have had in these stories, or does it affirm the research that you've done?
Well, it affirms it and it extends it. You know, this is simply more of the same Russia collusion hoax. You know, the laptop itself had nothing to do with Russian disinformation, but I think it had everything to do with the FBI and the intelligence agency's own disinformation to censor a disfavored story, a story that potentially did harm to Joe Biden in the run-up to the election. And they were elevating favorable stories. And you'll find this all in the 4 editions of the Twitter file. What's especially despicable is, you know, the blacklist. Very much like the television show. It's as shocking and unbelievable as the fictional version. Sadly, this Twitter tale is real, and it's quite odious. Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter, testified under oath for Congress. Oh, we don't shadow ban anybody. We don't censor disfavored stories. Well, those were lies. Now, whether he was oblivious, and I think Jack Dorsey has a track record of being oblivious, is a different question. It may not subject him to perjury charges because there's some evidence in these Twitter files that top officials at the platform were keeping him out of the loop oftentimes, even though he was serving on what was essentially a 4-person censorship board. But there are others who lied to the American public, lied to Congress about all of this. They claimed they were not censoring disfavored opinions and informations on Twitter, and the Twitter files show that was a lie. So I think there's some real reckoning that is about to take place when a Republican Congress undertakes an investigation in just a couple of weeks.
We're speaking with legal and political analyst for Fox News Channel, Gregg Jarrett. You have the legal expertise to kind of lean into that issue that you're talking about right there. The idea that the Republicans are going to have the majority come January, don't have the Senate, don't have the White House, but that Republican majority in the House does have a lot of authority to look into these issues deeper than what we're seeing be revealed, of course, on Twitter. What do you expect to see? There's a difference between what we all hope to see and what we expect to see, but what can voters and concerned citizens expect to see starting in January as this plays out?
Well, let's remember that oversight investigations is an important and, in fact, a critical duty. It's a fundamental duty of Congress and has been for, 230 years. And I think you're going to see these investigations take off on different fronts. There are roughly 24 FBI whistleblowers who are prepared to say that FBI officials buried the Hunter Biden investigation. And in fact, they sealed the laptop so nobody could see it, running essentially a protection racket together with Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, for Joe Biden to protect him and his son. And frankly, that's the only explanation for the fact that a 4 to 5 year investigation has resulted in no charges so far. I think you'll also see subpoenas for 51 former Intel officials, people like James Clapper, John Brennan, Mike Morrell, Mike Hayden, Leon Panetta, who signed that infamous letter claiming that the laptop was Russian disinformation. And Biden relied on that in a pivotal presidential debate. Well, it was a lie. They hadn't even seen the laptop, these 51 former Intel guys, and they hadn't even reviewed the emails. So they were running interference for Joe Biden, and it, may have helped him get elected. The Media Research Center did a poll and found a full 16% of Joe Biden voters would have cast their ballots differently had the laptop not been suppressed. And then, of course, I think you're going to see an investigation into the contents of the laptop itself. It is incriminating information of multi-million-dollar influence peddling schemes helmed principally by Hunter Biden. But the evidence on the laptop makes Joe Biden complicit as an integral part of it. So, Joe Biden still maintains, I never talked to my son about any of it. I knew nothing about it. Well, the record and the documents indicate that he was routinely meeting with Hunter Biden's business partners, confirmed by photographs and emails and the testimony of Tony Bobulinski and others. So different fronts of this investigation, but loads of corruption, Annie.
We are talking to Gregg Jarrett. You can learn more about his work at thegreggjarrett.com. You talk about Hunter Biden and the connections to Joe Biden. I've heard it's very telling to me to listen to the people who you would expect to be supporting Joe Biden, which is basically the normal mainstream media, and a lot of the Democrat pundits who come on to talk about this, and they either A, don't talk about it at all, or B, I've heard a lot of them refer to the laptop as old news. And that is quite an interesting way to put it, because if it was old news, then that would have meant it used to be news, and they did not correctly report on it when it would have been news when it was, fresh the first time. How do Republicans in the House, who will have the majority and the subpoena power and the ability to investigate here, how are they going to be able to investigate this and not make it look like a tit for tat with the Democrats, what they did to Donald Trump, really? Because they were saying in the second impeachment process that this was all the phone call between Donald Trump and Ukraine was all about digging up dirt on a potential political opponent in Joe Biden. Hunter Biden's name was brought up in that conversation as well. So this does look on the surface, if people are not willing to dig, like it's just revenge. How is this going to be communicated to the American people, where maybe those moderates, independents, and clean thinking left center people go, yeah, we do need to look into what's going on here?
Produce the evidence. It's as simple as that. The mainstream media, and you bring up a good point, Annie, aided and abetted Joe Biden. They did everything in their power to scrub or ignore the laptop story. They never bothered to verify its contents or the laptop authenticity itself. Major networks, leading newspapers, they were determined to help get Joe Biden elected. So they labeled it a non-scandal and fake news and Russian disinformation. And as I pointed out in one of my columns, this was media malpractice in the extreme. But, the media doesn't care. They don't care about objectivity or fairness. Those are nuisances. 17 months after the story broke, the New York Times finally admitted the laptop was real. So did the Washington Post. NBC News followed suit. It took CBS an unbelievable 2 years to do the same, and it was so easy. All you had to do really was contact some of the people with whom Hunter Biden sent or received emails. Are these true and authentic emails? Yep. And, okay, so that confirms the contents. There were 3 copies of the laptop floating around, easily obtainable. Get a forensic specialist to look at it. Yep. It's the real deal, hasn't been trifled with. So these are, mainstream media news organizations that didn't want to know the truth, much less report it. So it's no surprise to me that they're all attempting to ignore the Twitter files on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. How many times have they reported on the Twitter files since they were first released? 0. Not at all. And, so it's sort of if we ignore it, maybe it'll go away. And then their backup plan is always, that's old news. It's already been debunked. Well, no, it's not. And that's the way they, sort of treated all of the evidence that finally came out and confirmed the title of my first book, The Russia Hoax. Nothing to see here. Let's move on.
Yeah. They sure do have a game plan that has worked well for them multiple times. And my hope is that we get free speech back at the epicenter of the way we exchange information in this country. And Gregg Jarrett, you've been a wonderful advocate for exposing what has been going on and putting it into words that people can understand. Twitter Files number 5 is dropping right now, and I bet you want to go finish reading it if you haven't started already. I hope to talk with you about this issue again soon.
Take care. It's always my pleasure talking to you, Annie. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Gregg Jarrett, legal and political analyst for Fox News Channel, authors of The Russia Hoax and Witch Hunt. And you can go to thegreggjarrett.com and see his great reporting and listen to his podcast as well. We are going to try to do a radio show and consume Twitter files at the same time and do Wiggins America. How do we do it? I don't really know, but you'll have to stay tuned to find out. And it's going to either be amazing or a train wreck. Either way, this is where you want to be, right here on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Thanks for being here with us. You make it home for us. What do you think about that? Let's take a quick break. Ryan Wiggins in studio when we return.
Was a little more life somewhere else? After all, it was a great
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'm Howard Mackler of GetRefunds.com. You might have heard me talk about the payroll tax refund for businesses who kept employees on payroll during COVID. But today, I'm not going to do the talking. I'm letting a real Get Refunds client tell you everything.
Hello, I'm Steve, certified arborist and owner of New Century Tree and Lawn. I heard about the payroll tax refund and GetRefunds.com on the radio. When COVID hit my business, we dealt with shutdowns, strict sanitation procedures, and many extra expenses. Since then, we have been affected by product and labor shortages and massive inflation. GetRefunds.com got me approved for the payroll tax refund. With that money, it has allowed me to cover expenses, pay off debts, and plan ahead for next year with a positive outlook. If you have a business, you need to go to GetRefunds.com and start your claim now.
GetRefunds.com helped their business, and we can help yours too. Go to GetRefunds.com and see if you qualify in just 8 minutes. GetRefunds.com, powered by Innovation Refunds.
So Gateway ENT is online at gatewaydrs.com, gatewaydoctors.com, gatewaydrs.com. Your ear, nose, and throat issues that you have been just dealing with or maybe suffering through, you don't really have to do that. Go see the Gateway ENT doctors and have your problem looked at. You will be really grateful that you did it, and you're going to have one regret, and that's just that you didn't go see Gateway ENT sooner. They are one of the oldest private practice ear, nose, and throat doctors in the area. They are located in West County, in Sunset Hills, and in Festus. They've been around for more than 4 decades, and they work with people of all ages, so babies up through the elderly. If you've got that ear, nose, and throat issue that's been plaguing your life, don't suffer through it. Get an answer from people who are going to be able to get you into the office to be seen quickly, and they're going to get to the root cause of your problem and help you out so that you can manage it or get rid of that problem as quickly and as effectively as possible. The patient is at the center of every care situation at Gateway ENT, which means you are their priority. You can call them at 314-843-3828, gatewaydrs.com.
The countdown is on. Ring in 2023 at New Year's Eve live at Ballpark Village. Pop the bottles and celebrate the best New Year's Eve party in town. Complete with premium all-inclusive drink packages from 8 until midnight. Access to 6 parties. Exclusive VIP upgrades. Live band and DJ. Kiss 2022 goodbye with a New York-style ball drop. Complimentary champagne toast, party favors, and celebration. For tickets and event details, head to stlballparkvillage.com/events.
Tis the season to get blitzened. Tinsel Tavern has taken over Budweiser Brewhouse at Ballpark Village now through New Year's Day. Immerse yourself in this holiday pop-up bar decked to the halls, literally with floor-to-ceiling decor, featuring a festive food and drink menu that absolutely slays, multiple photo ops, holiday-themed events, and more. Reservations are open daily from 4 p.m. till midnight. For table reservations, check out stlballparkvillage.com.
Beat the holiday rush and get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $119. You can also get $75 off your air duct cleaning when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at zeroresstl.com. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service now offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Free speech has a home. 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
One of the only places where conservative ideas aren't shut out of the conversation. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
First thing you think of when you hear the song?
I'm gonna be honest. It's since I heard it, the audio of you doing that thing for the blues. Yeah.
Oh man.
I said it. I don't think you had your headphones on. You couldn't hear me, but
No,
I was
I
like,
didn't.
tell them to get loud.
Yes. Go crazy. That's the way I talked. Or Mariano Rivera, right? That's who.
Yeah, but I didn't watch much Yankees.
I mean, that was a really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, it's the song.
Enter Sandman.
It doesn't get. I mean, this is in a class of its own when it comes to hype music.
I was going to say the high
It's a
school football team walked out to this song.
terrifying song when you think about it.
Yeah, it is lyrically.
it's also just, it might be the best metal song that's ever been made.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know this metal song.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know another one?
This is all you need to know.
I don't know.
Right. If you know the best, why suffer with the rest?
Here's the thing. Rage Against the Machine doesn't get put into metal enough, but they are about as hard as music gets.
See,
that first album.
Like, to me, this song serves a purpose. And I don't know why Brad is judging you
Brad,
so hard.
it doesn't like that comment.
I don't like Rage Against the Machine.
Well, I get the politics side of it, but as far as some good guitar riffs,
the
man.
hypocrisy of it all.
Oh, yeah, I understand that too.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Rage Against the Machine?
Politics, hypocrisy, these are all things that I know, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, just don't listen to Rage.
Yeah.
Or just listen to it like the karaoke version with no lyrics.
Um,
I'm sure that's pretty hard.
Like, to me, heavy metal music serves one purpose. It's to get you going.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there isn't really anything in my life where I really need to be hyped anymore.
True.
I was a 4-sport athlete through high school, didn't play. I think I could have played junior college basketball. I don't know that I could have played junior college volleyball. But that, I did not like basketball enough to play junior college basketball. And I love basketball. But like getting hyped before games and stuff, like Enter Sandman still was not on the list of a 17-year-old's hype music.
Really?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, man.
Like
What was it?
Justin Timberlake, and there's some hip hop stuff. I mean, I don't know. I went to a Lutheran high school, so you're like trying to find these clean versions or turn the music off before the coach came in the locker room. But Enter Sandman. But yes, that was the music that played underneath the announcing that I did for the St. Louis Blues. In, I think it was 2010, I voiced they wanted a female voice that was like computer sounding.
Deadpan.
No emotion, no
I remember
feeling.
this.
And so Tom Calhoun, who is the PA announcer for the Blues, who I am connected with, he's a wonderful man. He worked with my husband. He went to college with my dad. He's like, I know someone who might do this. So he asked me to do it, which was amazing because I was not doing anything. Nobody knew who I was other than Tom Calhoun, thankfully. So I went in and recorded that. And it's just funny that came on right now because just this weekend, Enter Sandman came on the radio in our car. And my daughter didn't know that I did that. Jensen, my oldest daughter. I was like, oh, this reminds me of when I announced the opening thing for the Blues. And she looks at me and like, you did what? So then I had to pull it up, this fan video on YouTube and show it to her. So, but yeah, I love that song. It's great. Let's do it.
Wiggins!
Oh, Wiggins!
I'll tell you what, there's a time and place for it. Yesterday afternoon, I was walking into a restaurant, and next door was a sports bar, and they were blaring some Cage the Elephant or something, and it was a Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Sometimes you need to get
hyped. It was just not the time for some hard rock.
That is when I like to nap.
Yes, that is nap time for everybody. Nap time for America.
What? I could probably get hyped for nap time if it ended in a nap.
Yeah.
That's how excited I would be to take
Play
a nap.
some Jet and then go to sleep.
Enter Sandman.
Yeah, Enter Sandman, exactly. I don't care if I'm being stalked in the middle of the night. If that means I get a nap, stalk away.
She sleeps better when somebody's watching her sleep.
I have 4 kids. I'm constantly being watched in my sleep. You know when you wake up and they're staring at you at the side of the bed?
I do know that.
I think that's what Enter Sandman's actually about.
Except maybe a grown adult doing that. So this Wiggins America is a podcast that Bill Maher does. I guess I didn't even know he did an extra podcast in addition to Real Time with Bill Maher, but he does one called Club Random. He had Dana Carvey on because, as we recall, Bill Maher is a comedian. And he has been showing that more, I think, in recent years, that he does comedy. And he had Dana Carvey on, and they did get into some political talk. Now, this is how they got. I want to just play this clip because it's the joke that kind of sent them into the politics. This is them talking about Dana Carvey's impersonation of Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg is fading as an impression. I have a 4-second impression of her, a 15-year-old high school kid with Asperger's lecturing the world. It's just 2 words, 3 words. How dare you? How dare you? So
and I understand her plight, and I'm sympathetic to it. I think she's a brave person.
Totally.
But I also think she is not representative of her generation, who love to blame us. You wrecked the world. Yeah, like you're doing it differently. Like you're not driving.
Okay.
Let's stop for a second and think about Greta Thunberg being representative of a generation. She's a little exceptional, and I'm pretty sure her generation, which is probably Hannah's.
Close. Yeah, it was. What is she? Probably about 18 or 19 now?
I would think
Greta
so.
Thunberg? Yeah, she's probably pretty close.
Not a lot of Greta's running around.
Not here, anyway. I'd like to see that change. But I wanted to play that as the opening clip to just show you how they got into this topic.
She'll be 20 on January 3rd.
Well, there you go. She's getting close to Hannah's age.
Getting up there.
Never quite catch Hannah, though, will she? That's the nature of age itself.
Ooh, let's have them race.
Yes. Let's set that up.
Race and age. What's the finish line?
I don't know. Just keep running until Greta gets tired. Hannah can handle it.
Keep running until one of you drops dead.
Yikes. Escalated rapidly.
Okay.
Sounds like something
So we're going
weird
to have a
that
death
Ryan
race.
would say. Hannah, I'm
I've
sorry.
been hanging out with him too much.
Brad, you can set that
When
up.
I said
though,
that,
right?
I didn't know it was going to end in Hannah's
Death?
untimely death.
Well, we hope not.
Anyway.
We don't know that.
You know, we're rooting for Hannah on this. All right, so the second clip that
If
I
it
pulled.
wasn't clear.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
you're welcome. So this Bill Maher, Dana Carvey interview, then this is the one that got, if you want to say headlines, there was like one article written about it in the Daily Signal, I think, where Dana Carvey talks about the nature of people's reaction to climate discussions.
We are going to do this, basically. We're going to try to get to the renewables when they're practical and they can take over for fossil fuels. Everyone's a Republican when the lights go.
Everyone's a Republican when the lights go out is that clip. So that's the one, that's the sort of the marquee statement that came out of this interview, which is great because it's practical. And I think that's why I was enjoying listening to this thing, is because the whole discussion is a very practical discussion. Here's them talking about how they have to say this, we're not really climate deniers, but.
Yeah. Hey, but yeah, I think we'll be fine. I mean, I read Matt Ridley and Bjorn Lomborg and other alternative, not deniers. I hate when you're,
no, exactly.
But say we will migrate, we'll build dams, we'll do what we do.
So that's them. I mean, he's just saying, look, I read people who aren't necessarily towing the line on this subject. They're not climate deniers. They're just saying people adapt. They're saying things that aren't necessarily part of the mainstream discussion. And therefore, I guess that's considered controversial. I mean, does that...
Who's saying it's controversial?
Well, people who toe the line on these subjects.
Like, have they been called out for it?
No, but you can hear them saying, look, I'm not a climate denier, but, they're very much trying to say, listen, I understand what the environment is like on this. However, I think there are some practical solutions here that we're not talking about. The last clip I want to play, and then I want to ask a couple questions of you guys where you think this goes. This is kind of the whole point of the whole thing. So they talk about this for about 5 minutes, and then they get here.
And now India and China, those countries and many others.
They're going to live with it.
Well, many of those people are just coming into the middle class. So it wasn't an option for them to have cars and refrigerators and fly on planes.
Air conditioning.
And air conditioning especially. And now that they can have those things, their attitude is, wait
a minute. Hold on. I know. And the Africans, too. They're like, let me get this straight.
You used it all up.
Yeah.
And now we can't have air conditioning because we have to all be good now.
We have to fan ourselves like in the 17th century while you were in an icebox half your life?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
An amazing point. I've never heard it put that way, that America and the Western world used these resources for many years. And now you have developing nations moving in and saying, hey, we can have these things too. And now we're saying, no. You have to do it in the right way, though. When they said that, I was just shocked that I've never heard anybody make that point, that we're now talking down to nations after we've done it our way. Now we're saying, no, you still have to do it our way, though, because we've had this for many years. But now that you have it, we want to put a bunch of rules on the way that you are using it. Do comments like this, the big question, do people then assume that somebody like Dana Carvey or Bill Maher are becoming conservatives because they're willing to ask and make statements like this?
I think the question is what people, though. I mean, like who?
I don't know. Let's say the left. Let's say mainstream people who criticize everything. Are they? Is the mainstream media? Would the mainstream media look at Bill Maher or Dana Carvey and say, "Yeah, you're not really one of us anymore"?
Well, I would just sit here and look, and it's like, rather than people like the mainstream media or whatever, what we're seeing is we're seeing the political shift, like move away from people who like Maher and Carvey's viewpoints haven't ever changed.
I also don't think
moving
that,
away from them.
I also don't think that if you say something that's not liberal, I don't think that the jump to the antithesis isn't to be conservative. That's
Right.
a long journey. Steve Moore, when we come back, don't go away.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS employees and enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
TheDiamondShop.net is the website. You can go be a VIP if you go to TheDiamondShop.net and also shop some of their beautiful pieces of jewelry, but it does not compare to walking in to their store there in Clayton and looking at the beautiful cases of jewelry that they have. My husband purchased for me a strand of pearls from the Diamond Shop for a special occasion a few years ago, and it is one of my most cherished possessions. I love the way the people at the Diamond Shop will walk you through a purchase. They'll talk to you about the products that they have. They'll talk to you about what you're looking for, what you're trying to achieve with the gift, who the gift is for, what your budget is. And then they stitch all of those things together to give you a perfect piece that fits all of those requirements. If you are looking for an amazing gift this holiday season, and you can check them out online as well, 6 months, same as cash. They do appraisals, watch repair. They have jewelry. They buy gold. It's all online at thediamondshop.net.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, and more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry. And there's no better place to shop than Diamonds Direct, where celebrating memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we've put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands for every taste and every price range. And don't worry about higher prices and high interest rates. At Diamonds Direct, we've got your back with our guaranteed best value pricing and 3 years zero interest financing on any holiday purchase. That's right, zero interest financing. So that $5,000 Eternity Band is just over $138 a month. With this special offer, everything's affordable. So come to Diamonds Direct. Let our experts help you choose that perfect showstopper gift for this holiday season. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our all-new online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com on approved credit. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The special counsel makes another move. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The veteran prosecutor overseeing 2 Trump-related probes at the Justice Department issues another subpoena, this time for the office of Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, calling him to appear before a grand jury. This follows subpoenas issued in other states, where then President Trump also focused his efforts on trying to overturn the 2020 election results. A hearing in New York City on the safety of the Jewish community across the country amid a rise in anti-Semitic attacks ahead of Hanukkah.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas on changing people's attitudes.
A few weeks ago, Rabbi Hauer made a very important point. There is no such thing as a small act of anti-Semitism.
Mayorkas joined the Senate leader Chuck Schumer, the governor, and Mayor Eric Adams talking about a change to hate crime laws.
There should be a no plea bargaining rule
if you are arrested for hate crimes, no plea bargaining.
Therese Crowley, Fox News.
Families who lost loved ones in the bombing of a plane over Lockerbie, Scotland 34 years ago are hoping the first U.S. trial can begin soon.
Justice delayed is justice denied.
Victoria Cummock's husband was among the 270 people killed. She's founder and CEO of the Pan Am 103 Lockerbie Legacy Foundation. The suspected bomb maker, extradited from Libya over the weekend, is due in federal court in D.C. this afternoon. A second prisoner convicted of crimes during protests in Iran is executed by hanging in public. He'd been accused of stabbing two members of a paramilitary force amid Iran's deadly crackdown on demonstrators after a woman died in the custody of the country's morality police. America is listening to Fox News.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall, well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service heating and cooling weather.
A changeable sky as we go through our Monday afternoon. Will be optimistic. Call it a mix of clouds and sunshine. Still chilly, 45. Tonight, cloudy and windy, 32. Tuesday, cloudy and windy with increasing rain and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. 55 on Tuesday, 58 on Wednesday. And then we got some cold air for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hey, this is Brian Kilmeade. If you're wondering if America has ever been here before, get my book, The President and Freedom Fighter. It's about the heroes that rise up in our darkest times. Go to 971talk.com, 971talk.com to order a copy for Christmas.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. You can find them online and shop right now by going to igotfloored.com. That's the website for Michael's Flooring Outlet. And I'm pulling it up right now. It says, don't stress, impress your guests with new floors this holiday season. And you can reach out to them to request an estimate right now by using their website at igotfloored.com. They can talk to you about financing, and you can get paired up with the amazing sales staff that they have at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They care about your experience purchasing flooring. They know that you are going to be an ambassador one way or another about your experience at Michael's Flooring Outlet, and they take that to heart. You can reach out to Michael's Flooring Outlet to just start the process, but if you have already engaged in checking out different flooring places, maybe you've been to one of the big box stores, and you know what you want, but you just haven't decided where to buy it yet, Michael's Flooring Outlet is excited to earn your business. You can check out their locations, how to contact them, and like I said, how to get an estimate for your project by going online, igotfloored.com.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Recent impacts with inflation, ongoing COVID concerns, and geopolitical conflict have us all and the markets on edge. Heisey Advisory Group understands the importance of having a customized strategy for retirement, especially during uncertain times, to help ensure these concerns don't have an impact on your retirement. Heisey Advisory Group is a St. Louis-based, family-owned and operated holistic retirement planning firm. Our team has defined a process that puts together all the pieces of the financial puzzle, working with all of your service providers to help develop an individualized plan that grows with you as your life changes and your needs evolve. If you're not confident that your retirement plan is on track to deliver the lifestyle you want, amid historic levels of uncertainty. Call us today at 314-328-6000. Again, that's 314-328-6000.
Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Firm provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Sunbelt Solomon is hiring. Travel across Missouri and Illinois to tear down power transformers. You'll be home most nights and weekends and offered full benefits, including 401k with a match, plus paid sick and vacation time. Apply today at sunbeltsolomon.com. That's sunbeltsolomon.com.
Santa's thinking fine jewelry from Shane Company. Are you? Visit us for gorgeous gifts starting under $300. Order online and get free express shipping.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
But for families who are paying more at the grocery store, when 2023 comes around, do they need to be worried about a recession?
There are always risks of a recession. The economy remains prone to shocks. But look, we have a very healthy banking system. We have very healthy business and household sector.
You have said this. You do not believe there will be a recession next year.
There's a risk of a recession, but it certainly isn't, in my view, something that is necessary to bring inflation down.
Janet Yellen speaking about the possibility of a pending recession. I know what you're thinking, and I'm thinking it too. Yeah, what about this one? What about the one we're in right now? The definitions changed. They modified how we describe a recession previously, and so we're not in one right now. And I can understand why she would say, I don't think we're going to be one in the future, especially if you get to command the definition of words. It is what it is. We're going to talk with Stephen Moore on that subject here in a little bit. But, you know, when it comes to your money and how you have to work hard to make ends meet, wouldn't it be nice to see somebody in government react to the reality of what you're dealing with on a daily basis? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to connect your existence, your reality with somebody who's in government to represent you, who says, yeah, I see what you're going through and we're going to do something about it, which a lot of times what we're going to do about it is less government. The solution that the at least the powers that be right now, the party that controls the purse right now, as the Democrats still have Congress and the White House, they always have an acknowledgement of the plight you may be experiencing, but their solution is always to spend more money. And guess what? The money they're spending is your money. That becomes quite a cyclical event, and it only causes more problems to occur. When more problems occur after they've spent more money and pushed us into more debt, which big government Republicans absolutely have participated in the past as well, guess what ends up happening? There are more problems to solve, and when there are more problems to solve, of course, there are more answers and solutions for government to pay for. And you see how this just becomes a very, very cyclical process. Janet Yellen saying we won't be in a recession next year, likely won't be, but we're always prone to bumps along the way, doesn't really communicate to the American people, the American taxpayer, that they understand what we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. If they can't understand what's going on, or if they choose not to understand, if they choose to continue along with this narrative that we are in a transition period, which is what Pete Buttigieg has said multiple times, then of course we just have to sit and deal with it. Steve Maher is a distinguished fellow in economics at the Heritage Foundation, author of the book Govzilla, How the Relentless Growth of Government is Devouring Our Economy and Our Freedom, knows a little bit about this cycle that the Democrats, when they're in power, have, and those big government Republicans. Steve, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here.
Hi, Annie.
Hello. Janet Yellen's comments about recession. Tell me what you thought about her saying, well, I don't think we'll be in a recession in the year.
Well, I hope she's right. I don't want to see a recession. Those are terrible. People lose their jobs, people lose their incomes and livelihoods, and, people's living standards have to shrink when you have a recession. So we don't want to see that. If we do have a recession, it'll obviously because of Biden's policies. I mean, the economy should be booming right now. And if Trump were still in office, it would be. But all the spending, all the debt, all the regulations, all the taxes, all the war on American energy, it's just shrinking the economy. Now, I still think there's time to, skate around a recession by doing the right things. Republicans, when they take over the House and take that gavel away from Nancy Pelosi in January, they can't do a lot of positive things, Annie, but they can stop the bad things from, that Biden's done the last 2 years. So there's some hope out there. The big issue is, can we bring inflation down? We brought it down. It was as high as 9% under Biden. It's now right a little under 7%. So that's some improvement. And, gas prices have come down, but still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Still a lot of work to bring that inflation down. And it starts with cutting government spending. That's the source of all our economic problems. It's massive government spending and trillions of additional debt that we've added.
Steve Maher with us right now. We had previously had a definition that was pretty agreeable on a bipartisan basis of what a recession actually was. Mm-hmm. It seems as though that's changed because we thought we were in a recession. How would you define recession at this point in time?
Well, a recession is when the economy is shrinking. And you're right, Annie, it did shrink slightly in the first half of the year. So for the first 6 months of the year, 2 straight quarters, we had a negative growth of about -1 or 2%. And so that's what it is. And so, if we got 2 straight quarters more of slow growth, given, we're already in a hole, so more negative growth would really hammer families in a very significant way. So that's why I say I pray we don't have a recession, because we just came out of a recession, Annie. I mean, it was a mild one, but we don't want to, that's called a double dip.
Yeah. Yeah, and certainly we don't want that. I'm thinking about the national debt. Is it 31 trillion at this point in time?
Yeah, if you include the money that is that's been borrowed from the Social Security Fund, which probably never be paid back. But if you include that, we're at about 32 trillion. If you don't include that, we're at about 22 trillion. I mean, these are numbers. When I first came to Washington, that was 2 trillion. Wow. Now, that was 1985, but think about that. We've gone from 2 trillion to 22 to $30 trillion.
It's something that I don't think that those aren't numbers that I can really understand. I can see them. I can watch the U.S. debt clock tick up.
Right.
Is it unrealistic to think that we're ever going to lower that number, or that we're going to ever see it? Is it even possible that number could go away?
Well, you mean to zero?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. But we did have 3 years when Bill Clinton was president, we had Republicans running Congress, when we actually had pretty lean budgets and a good economy, where the debt actually went down for a few years. So, yeah, we can do it. It just takes willpower. It takes electing the right people to Congress. I guarantee you, that when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker, that wasn't going to happen. As long as Biden is president, that's not going to happen. So it's going to take a change of leadership. But if you get the economy booming again and you get people back in really good paying jobs, so they're paying taxes, not collecting government benefits. I mean, the big problem we have right now, Annie, is we've got too many people sitting on the sidelines. We're missing 4 million workers who never went back to work after COVID. And that's because in some measure, some people, got long COVID and so on, couldn't go back to work. But the vast majority of them are just collecting government benefits. And, that's ridiculous when you can get almost as much from government benefits as you can from working. In some cases, you get more.
Yeah, that's true. And it makes it punitive to go back to work. Can the Republicans who control the purse in the House, can they stop any of that by themselves?
Yeah. Here's the great news. just read the Constitution. I know you're familiar with the Constitution, and I know a lot of your listeners are, but I guarantee you most Americans don't even, especially kids, they don't even know what's in the Constitution. But Article 1 of the Constitution says the spending power is with the Congress. The Congress. That means if one house blocks a spending bill, the president of the United States can whine and complain and moan and do whatever he wants, but he can't spend money without it being approved from Congress. Now, some people are probably listening to me and saying, well, gee, how is it that Biden is doing this, the student loan bailout? Because that was not authorized by Congress. And I happen to think that was unconstitutional, Annie. I don't think that the president has the authority to do that. Do you?
No, I mean, it just seems as though the president's overreached with the student loan situation, and
that is the understatement of the day.
Yes, but I mean, also noting the political timing of all of it. It seems as though the purpose wasn't necessarily to actually, if people think that he was altruistically trying to help people, notice the timing of when these promises are made and executive orders are issued, and then it goes into the court system. But at some point, you get to the Democrats. Did they benefit in the election by providing the student loan? Young people showed up for him, so you could maybe surmise that they did.
I think you might be right about that. I hate to say it, but I think, look, people love free things, right? And what are we going to do next? Are we going to, forgive people's mortgages? Am I going to pay for your house and you're going to pay for Jim's house? And this is ridiculous. There's no reason why taxpayers should have to write off someone's debt. And yet, it was just basically graft. It was paying people for their votes.
Steve Moore with us right now. Last question before we let you go. For people listening right now who, people have voted the way they did. Some people won the elections that we wanted them to win. Some of those candidates lost. Regardless, the Republicans have the House. You got taxpayers and people who need to buy gas to get to work, buy groceries to feed their families. They're looking ahead at the next year and saying we're probably not going to go into recession. And, oh, yeah, by the way, that economy can hit bumps along the road. What's your greatest advice for average, everyday, hardworking Americans right now financially in the months and year to come under this new Congress?
Well, I think, if you're someone who's been sitting on the sidelines and thinking about getting a job and, not having one yet, there's jobs out there now. There's a lot of jobs out there now. I would get a job now while they're still available because, remember what happened in 2008 when it was like almost overnight. Over one weekend, all these banks started failing and the economy just collapsed. And so you don't want to be, what was that old game, musical chairs. You don't want to be the one left without a chair to sit in. So get a job now, get an income and be prepared. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but we've made a lot of major economic mistakes where with our debt that high, at some point there's going to be a day of reckoning. I don't know, Annie, if it's going to be next week or next month or next year or next 5 years. At some point, we're going to have to pay the piper. And so people had better be ready for that. And also, people are borrowing way too much money. Now, I'm not saying don't go out and buy nice Christmas presents, but, consumer credit card debt is way up. And, unlike the federal government, you got to pay back your debt. You got to pay the credit. And so I would say be careful about going too far into debt right now.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. We appreciate you, Steve Moore. Thank you so much. Govzilla's a great Christmas gift, I hear. People can check that out.
There you go. Stick it right in the stocking.
Thank you so much, Steve. We'll talk to you again. Put it in the stock. I don't know if you put Govzilla instead of coal or if that's like the nice gift because you give Govzilla to the people who need to know a thing or two. I'm excited to talk on, let's see here. Tuesday, we're going to speak with Jason Chaffetz right at the start of the show about how Republicans can effectively lead in a politically divided Congress. I can't wait to talk to Jason Chaffetz about that. And here, as somebody who was in a congressional seat, a pretty high-profile congressman when he was in there, Jason Chaffetz has a wonderful perspective on this. He's really, really well-spoken on it. And going into this Congress, what is it that needs to be done for them to be effective? Effective in action, effective in communication. Jason Chaffetz will join us Tuesday at 12:05 to talk to us about how Republicans can effectively lead in a politically divided Congress, and hope you will stick with us tomorrow to check that out. Let's take a quick break. We're going to talk a little more about the highlights of the Twitter files, what we know so far. We're consuming it as we go through here. So we'll discuss that in just a minute. Don't go away. Vote on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever switched political parties? Yes or no? You can go into the Annie Frey YouTube channel, vote there, and leave a comment and tell us if you have, how that manifests itself. Hannah will highlight those. and feature a few of them at 2:45. Back in a minute.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I am tempted to keep the car.
Prices are rising everywhere, and everyone wants to save a little bit of money. Mark Cox here from my friends at CarShield. If you want to control inflation, how about locking in your price and knowing it will never go up? That's what you get with CarShield right now, and here's why I love them. CarShield offers protection plans for about $100 a month. They cover more than ever before, and you get to pick and choose which coverage you get for your cars. You have control over that. Go to their website today. That is carshield.com/Cox. When you go on there, you'll see my smiling face. You can save 10%, and then you get to look at the options. Pick the premium that works for you and your budget, lock it in, and as long as you pay your premium every month, your coverage stays in effect, and the prices will never go up. Again, that's carshield.com/Cox or call 800-656-3113. That's 800-656-3113.
AirComfortService.com/insulation is where you can learn about how homeowners in St. Louis, as they're looking for ways to improve their energy bills keep going up and up. Air Comfort Service has a solution for you, and it has to do with your insulation. One of the best ways to improve your energy bill is by making your home properly insulated. This especially includes your attic. If you haven't looked into this yet, if you got a drafty home, if you feel like your furnace is running altogether too much, maybe it's not an old unit, should be working fine, it's blowing warm air. Why is the house not heating? Reach out to Air Comfort Service and find out what they can do for you. They can give your attic a look. They can test the insulation in your home and make sure that you are set up correctly. They can also do maintenance on your furnace if that is needed, as well as a tune-up. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. Call Air Comfort Service and have them talk to you about your insulation today. AirComfortService.com/insulation.
Guys, 2022's been a roller coaster year, so spoil her this Christmas by giving her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all. With soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas, exclusively from Pajamagram. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin, even more alluring than lingerie. The texture and touch of these pajamas is so seductive that you'll both love the feel of them. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Best of all, Pajamagram does the wrapping for you with free gift packaging. Order today, and Pajamagram will also include a free matching naturally nude nightie with the purchase of naturally nude pajamas. That is free gift packaging and a free naturally nude nightie when you order today. Just go to Pajamagram.com. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. That's Pajamagram.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. The Mark Reardon Show.
John Ziegler. We have lost free speech as a value in our culture, especially within big tech. And I think that was one of the many things that COVID killed.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Used to keep it cool, used to be a fool, all about the bounce in my step. Watch it on the news, what you gonna do? I could hit refresh and forget. Used to keep it cool.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Should I keep it light.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Preaching what is wrong. Will they let me sing on TV? Should I keep it light? Is that right?
I can get off Twitter. I don't really care. But I'm wondering what a guy spending $44 billion on that. He's got this brilliant mind for inventing things, for creating things. Every day, I wonder, why is he acting like a backbench Republican in the House of Representatives instead of like the richest guy in the world, a guy who could actually take the country in positive places? I don't get it.
And all the backbench Republicans in Congress are going, hey, leave us alone. Where'd we come in here? Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're happy that you're here with us this afternoon on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk. We're grateful that you are sharing your afternoon with us. We do appreciate it. We got Joe Scarborough there giving a little unsolicited advice, of course, to Elon Musk, who I know Elon Musk was just sitting on the edge of his seat. It's funny to listen to somebody like Joe Scarborough slobber all over himself talking about how amazing and smart and brilliant and rich Elon Musk is. And the thing that's detestable to Joe Scarborough is that his political lean isn't the same as Joe's, which Joe used to be a Republican and has switched over to be a Democrat. And Elon Musk has said that he supported, I think, both Obama and Biden and would support Ron DeSantis in the next election. That brings us to our YouTube live chat poll for today. Have you ever switched political parties? Yes or no? You can go to the Annie Frey YouTube page, and we are broadcasting live there as we do each day in the live chat section where you can make comments and react with the show and interact with other listeners. You can vote yes or no in the poll that is there. If you choose to leave a comment about why you voted the way you did, Hannah will be watching those and feature her favorite ones. So you got to get on Hannah's good side. So when you're there, make sure you say hi to Hannah as well. And she will feature those in the 2:45 segment. And we'll find out how many people listening out there who voted in this poll have switched political parties. Joe Scarborough, saying that Elon Musk is a congressional backbench Republican. I don't even understand how you can reconcile that thought process. Elon Musk is the biggest BA for free speech that this country has seen probably in my lifetime. Who am I forgetting? Who am I leaving out? Just the suggestion that he should step up and take this country in positive places. This is a perfect example of Mr. Scarborough. Your insinuation that Elon Musk isn't taking this country in positive places is just based on your relative opinion about the results of what he's doing. I have an enormous curiosity about the future of these Twitter files as they continue to be released. That as we are speaking, Twitter has been doing their 5th Twitter files dump and revealing more information about what's going on at Twitter. And truthfully, the net that has been cast and the things that are being exposed and the information that could still yet to be exposed here is so broad. A lot of FBI communications or communications regarding meetings that would be occurring with the FBI or meetings that would or conversations that occurred about meetings that took place with these government departments, to think that there wouldn't be the possibility that anybody could get swooped up in the media, in government. Congressman Ro Khanna has been outed a little bit about being an advocate for free speech as a Democrat. That's kind of interesting. Listen.
I think if we want any hope of coming together as a country, the first thing we have to do is say people should be able to express their view. We can't tell people who we disagree with, please just be silenced. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to engage with you. Let me tell you, that's just going to create further polarization, further alienation. And I've been surprised how many Republicans who don't agree with a single thing I said believe, okay, at least we can have a dialogue. And that, I think, is the first step to being together as Americans. We could all pledge allegiance to the Constitution, to the First Amendment. That's what makes us Americans.
I would agree with that. Interesting. Here's more from
Well, I
Representative
think we
Khanna.
need Section 230 reform, Maria. We have to be careful. If they lost all Section 230 immunity, it may lead to more censorship, because then you could actually sue Twitter for potential defamation, and they're going to be more likely to censor. But I think where you can reform Section 230 is to say, if there is a finding by a court that something is illegal, that something is inciting violence, then there should not be Section 230 protection. And there definitely needs to be reform on Section 230.
So you listen to Joe Scarborough speaking, and then Representative Khanna there, who's from California, is a Democrat. I mean, the Democrat in Congress, I don't know if he's a backbencher or not. In transparency, I had not heard of his name until it showed up in the Twitter files. And when it was Congressman Ro Khanna, I wasn't 100% sure if it was a man or a woman until reports continued to kind of show who this person was and what they were talking about. But when you listen to him talking about the importance of free speech and the detriment that censorship has on our ability to be free Americans, and then you compare that with Joe Scarborough whining and moaning, saying you should do something that has positive effects on the country. Well, of course, I mean, how can you not see? I mean, Elon Musk is putting his own opinions in the midst here. And listen, he's allowed to have those opinions. They do not have to agree with yours or align with yours. But he's identified an issue that should concern all Americans who want to be able to communicate and be heard. And I noticed that all of the people who frequently are outspoken, be it in on the news, in media, in our conversations here on this show, or with people who react to our conversations on the show, or even in my own private life, people who seem to be pushing the idea that this is everybody at the same time, nothing burger. If it's a nothing burger, explain to me why you think it's a nothing burger. And the truth is that none of those people have had their speech or their ideology suppressed. They're not the people who have heartfelt and, personal perspectives, political ideologies that have been disallowed to be communicated. You can't look at the censorship that has taken place on Twitter and think that it's been done on a bipartisan way at all. And it's very difficult to sit here and say that and to know that conservatives have been marginalized purposely for there's been a goal in mind. There is a reason why. They've been allowed to put aside and silence a group of people on Twitter, or suppress a group of people on Twitter. When I hear Joe Scarborough saying that Elon Musk should really try to take this country into positive places, it's clear to me that his ideology does not align with Elon Musk's on this particular issue, and therefore he shames him. I don't know that Elon Musk is really going to permit Joe Scarborough access to his own emotions to make Elon Musk feel shame.
In any given newspaper, what percentage of the articles are positive about anything at all? Almost all the articles are negative. So then, I mean, that's the thing that tends to happen is if there's a subject that's newsworthy, like let's say like you're just writing about, like my name will just generate clicks, right? So if you've got a combination of, like say like my name that will generate clicks, and then a newspaper having a very negative bias in general, then this is just going to result in a lot of negative stories. It's just like a machine, basically.
The idea that we're going to have positive news coverage about anything, I mean, the idea that the news industry is an entertainment industry, I mean, I'm speaking to you on a 3-hour radio show that has my name on it. We talk about the news, we react to the news, and we try to entertain you throughout the process so that you spend your time with us. We want you to feel comfortable here. We want you to feel like it's a comfortable space to have a wide variety of thoughts and opinions on different issues. And I'm going to tell you mine, but I'm going to try to, on most occasions, say it to you in a way that says, hey, this is how I feel. This is what I think about things. If you feel differently than I do, you're allowed to certainly do that here in a respectful way. And my goal is always to be respectful back. Sometimes I fail at it because I make mistakes. We all do. But the difference between providing news and censoring news and entertaining, we don't have a journalistic integrity goal in this country that is widely accepted by all sides, and it is a bipartisan issue. There's a lot of opinion that's injected into any story before it makes your kitchen table or your phone scroll or your news feed. The clicks is what people are working for, the subscriptions, the frequency with which you go to this particular person because they serve it up in a way that you prefer.
But like I said, we can correct this on Twitter, and I think over time, as people, if we're doing our job well at Twitter, then people will increasingly see Twitter as the source of truth and to understand what's really going on, and they will turn away from traditional media and more towards Twitter, and that will provide a competitive force for other media to be more truthful, or they will simply keep losing more and more of the public's attention.
So Fox News is reporting on Twitter Files Part 5, which is the one that has been released in the last hour or so. And they say that the fifth installment of Elon Musk's Twitter Files today revealed that staffers believed that tweets written by former President Trump around the events of January 6th had not actually violated its policies, despite the company saying so at the time. From Barry Weiss, who was the person releasing these of the Free Press, quote, for years, Twitter had resisted calls, both internal and external, to ban Trump on the grounds that blocking a world leader from the platform or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information that people should be able to see and debate. But after January 6th, as Matt Taibbi and Schellenberger have documented, pressure grew both inside and outside of Twitter to ban Trump. According to Fox News, Weiss cited, quote, dissenters within Twitter that did not want to ban Trump, including one who wrote, quote, maybe because I am from China, I deeply understand how censorship can destroy the public conversation. Quote, but voices like that one appeared to have been a distinct minority within the company. Across Slack channels, many Twitter employees were upset that Trump hadn't been banned earlier. After January 6th, Twitter employees organized to demand their employer ban Trump. Quote, there is a lot of employee advocacy happening, said one Twitter employee. Fox News reports that after citing the public outcry of, quote, over 300 Twitter employees who signed an open letter published in the Washington Post pressuring then Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey to ban Trump, Weiss revealed that Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Trump had, quote, not violated Twitter's policies. A staffer said, quote, I think we'd have a hard time saying this is incitement. It's pretty clear he's saying the American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists. And then they say, we can call them that, right? From Wednesday. Another staffer agreed with that, said, don't see the incitement angle here. So there was dissent within Twitter. It's documented. There were certainly people who wanted Twitter to ban the president. And we're getting to see these communications here. We're getting to see them through the lens of Barry Weiss, who is a reporter from the Free Press. That's her publication. She left the New York Times. We see Matt Taibbi, who was with Rolling Stone. He's been releasing the initial Twitter files and has been participating throughout this process. And you're getting to consume straight information in screenshots and in quotations via these journalists. I hope, and Elon Musk has said that he would. Remember WikiLeaks and the Hillary Clinton emails? Like all of that stuff was out there. You could search any term of these emails and see if it popped up on something. I hope that this information is made public so that people can research it themselves, so that you can consume these things in the context that you want to, but also so that as Congress looks into this, as the House of Representatives, specifically the Republicans, look into what's going on at Twitter, that Americans have access to it themselves. Unfiltered, direct access the way anybody else does. I really think that transparency is key here. I don't really know what's going to happen next. I don't know what the end goal is here for Twitter, other than for Elon Musk to essentially, I think that his biggest goal here is not some great political impact, which is kind of, I don't know if that's what Joe Scarborough was advocating for Elon Musk to participate in when he said that. But I think that the goal for Elon Musk here is to get as much attention as humanly possible on Twitter, interacting at Twitter, because he owns that business and he wants to make it profitable. I think he wants to show its transparency. I think he wants to strip down a lot of these different policies that really regulate how conversations take place on Twitter. And I think that his ultimate goal here is to make Twitter as lucrative of a business as he possibly can. But in the process, oh man, it's going to be messy. There's going to be a lot of information that is released, and there are going to be a lot of people who are reacting to it. I don't see how you can look at this from any angle and say that this is a nothing burger, but people will definitely try to make that the case. If they are telling you that without looking through it, then that means that they probably need you to think it's a nothing burger. And if they need you to think it's a nothing burger, that's even more motivation for me to dig deeper. So I hope that Elon Musk does what he said he was going to do in one of his Twitter spaces. Had over 1 million people on there at one time. One of his Twitter spaces where he said he would make these all public and searchable. I know a lot of other people who have been advocating for that as well. Let's take a quick break. Get some of your reaction to this when we come back. We're going to continue to comb through what has been released. Since it's happening during the show, it's kind of a real-time scenario for us here. But we're gonna discuss it. Plus, the YouTube live chat poll, we're going to discuss that with the crew here at 2 o'clock. Have you ever switched political parties? Yes or no? Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
What a wonderful spider web you have built for us. I love this fabulous space we have right here in the corner of the kitchen.
Thanks, Charlotte. I think I'll build us a vacation web in the coat closet. Maybe even one in Susie's room, too. Oh, no. It's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Made a trip to Water Sweet Soap Company in Edwardsville this weekend to buy some Christmas presents. And folks, if you are in my life and in my family or friend circle and you're getting one of those gifts, boy, are you lucky. I was jealous of the people who were going to receive some of the amazing products that they had available at Water Sweet Soap Company. I'm so excited to hear that many of you have stopped by the store, and I get to proudly announce that the O'Fallon store opened this weekend. Brand new store. Flood that place and mention the Annie Frey Show when you do, because you're going to get a free gift. If you go online right now to watersweetssoap.com, that's water, S-W-E-E-T, sweet like sugar, watersweetssoap.com, and put in the promo code Annie when you check out, you're going to save 10% as well. If you mention my name when you go in the store, you're going to get a free gift also. And they have wonderful, wonderful products. Check out their sugar scrub. It's the best thing that they have there, and they have amazing things. They have beard oil. They have shampoo bars. I can't wait to try one of those out. Shower bombs. Go to watersweetssoap.com and shop today. Promo code Annie. Save 10%. watersweetssoap.com.
I'm Howard Mackler of GetRefunds.com. You may have heard me talk about the payroll tax refund program that gives businesses up to $26,000 for every employee they kept on payroll during COVID. But today, I'm not going to do the talking. I'm letting a real Get Refunds client tell you everything.
I'm Brian O'Brien, owner of the Beam Easy Living Center. I heard about the tax refund in GetRefunds.com on the radio. When COVID hit my business, we were uncertain of how we would be able to keep our employees working and supporting their families while maintaining a business. Then GetRefunds.com got me approved for a payroll tax refund. And with that money, was able to reinvest in our employees that were able to stay with us during such a difficult time. If you have a business, you should go to GetRefunds.com and start your claim right now. You will be glad you did.
GetRefunds.com helped their business, and we can help yours too. Go to GetRefunds.com and see if you qualify in just 8 minutes. GetRefunds.com, powered by Innovation Refunds.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
You're listening to award-winning, thought-provoking talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
On the air for over 20 years. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
You know, folks know this about me. I don't typically talk much about partisan politics, and I don't talk much about elections.
But he ran in 2020, and you supported him.
Yes, I did. I felt at the time he was the best candidate running for president.
So you really are going to view the 2024 election as an independent? Like, you are not automatically going to go with the Democratic candidate. You're going to see which one you prefer.
Jake, that's how I view everything.
Right. But generally speaking, I mean, have you ever voted for a Republican for president?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Well, I would guess you haven't. Just looking at your career, you voted for Ralph Nader in 2000, but since then, I would guess you didn't vote for George W. Bush, et cetera, et cetera. But you're up for grabs, is what you're saying.
I always make my decision, which I think is also consistent with Arizonans, and frankly, most people across the country. I always make my decision based on who I think is right for our country, who is the best person for the job.
Jake Tapper really trying to pin Senator Sinema down there on not voting for a Democrat for sure in the next election. Isn't that what her leaving the Democratic Party is kind of insinuating? The idea that Kyrsten Sinema is not going to be, for lack of a better terms, owned by the Democrats. I mean, just like you would expect any Republican in the Senate to automatically vote Republican, if you become an independent, then you're a free agent of sorts. I would doubt that Kyrsten Sinema in the next election is going to vote third party. Maybe if it's Trump-Biden, oh my gosh, can you imagine a Trump-Biden part two? No thanks. If it's Trump-Biden, maybe she would vote third party. Maybe she would run. Do you think about that? I look at what Kyrsten Sinema is doing here, and I appreciate the fact that she is essentially articulating the person who's running matters. Suggesting that if you're a Democrat, that the person running in the Democrat ticket doesn't matter. You're just going to vote Democrat no matter what. I'm a Republican, and I would say 98% of the time I'm going to vote Republican. If Donald Trump runs and gets the nomination and it's between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, am I going to vote for Donald Trump? Yeah, I am. I think Donald Trump has a lot of things that need to be buttoned up or let go, but I don't want Joe Biden to be running this country anymore. I think he's really bad at it. I don't think he's an effective leader. I think he has bad policies. I don't think he's capable for the job. There are concerns and there are criticisms I would have of Donald Trump, but I think his policies are good. I think he has effectively led change to Washington, D.C. And if I'm having to pick between those two, it's going to reconcile in something that I think I'm going to vote in what I think is best for the country. Now, if you're Kyrsten Sinema and you don't like Donald Trump's policies, or you don't like all of his policies, and you definitely don't like the man who Donald Trump is, but you also see the complications of voting to reelect Joe Biden, then you do become that free agent. And you will probably have a pretty strong voice, especially with independents across this country, when it comes to who that nominee is going to be for either party. I truly believe that Kyrsten Sinema is playing a really smart political game here. But I also think that there are a ton of voters in this country who are sitting right where Kyrsten Sinema is right now. I think that you could be moderately conservative, likely heavily fiscally conservative, and on a lot of the other issues, you don't really feel like you need to be in a nice, warm, tight hug with the rest of the Republican Party on a lot of those social issues. But fiscally, you're thinking, no, the way the Democrats are taking this country and its economy is a disaster and it needs to stop. And you might have too much of a preconceived opinion about Donald Trump that, if Donald Trump's the nominee, I'm just not going there. But I don't really want Joe Biden to win anymore. You get an independent involved in that process, and they're going to have influence. I think they're going to have more influence in this next election based on who the candidates are on both sides than they may have had in any time in my lifetime. And I mean, that's including Ross Perot, who actually did impact an election quite a bit. If you pay attention to the issues that are important to Kyrsten Sinema, I am going to be curious as how much those issues are going to be Sinema issues consistently. If she's going to pick up on some issues that as an independent, she wasn't really able to maybe broadcast as much or speak on as much because she would have been out of lockstep with the Democratic Party. This is coming from someone who, when they were in the Democratic Party, didn't really stay in lockstep. She wasn't in there to be an echo chamber for what Democrat voters, or specifically what the Democrat Party said that they were going to stand for. She would stand against the Democratic Party with some regularity. Even more so, in some cases, than Joe Manchin. A lot of people want to know if Joe Manchin is going to leave the Democratic Party.
Martha, I've known Joe Manchin for a long time. He was my mentor governor when I got elected in 2009. He's never going to be a Republican, in my view. I think Joe Manchin is a Democrat going all the way back to his mom and dad. It's part of who he is. He's a different kind of Democrat than the Washington Democrats today. But he also showed that 6 years ago, he's a very formidable candidate as a Democrat in a state that Donald Trump won by 40 points. So my guess is that Joe Manchin will just continue to be Joe Manchin. And he thinks that if he wants to run for re-election, that that's going to be good enough for him to beat any Republican that we put up anyway. Depending on what the atmosphere is in 24, we'll see.
So you have Chris Christie there, who is center-right. Republicans, it's like the overarching narrative on Chris Christie is that he's not Republican enough and he's detestable. But I'm from the state of Illinois. Chris Christie is the governor of Illinois. That would be fantastic. That would be amazing. But it's all relative, isn't it? The idea of Chris Christie becoming the governor of Illinois would be huge. The idea of Chris Christie becoming the governor of Missouri, that would look a little different, wouldn't it? That's why I often view a lot of these different people who are in the Republican Party, I think, with a broader willingness to accept varying degrees or varying, positions within the Republican Party where things aren't always 100% aligned. I don't believe on litmus tests on a lot of these issues. I think we need to be able to have open, honest conversations and rigorous debate on a lot of these issues. But if you're living in the state of Illinois right now, would you take Chris Christie as your governor? You absolutely would. If you're living in the county, would you take a right-leaning Democrat to be your county executive? You bet your britches you would. Because it's all relative. It's all comparative to the status quo. It's easy to not be if you're in red state Missouri, and folks who used to be purple, you're red now. If you're in red state Missouri, you have an expectation, which is understandable. The Democrats, it's funny to me to listen to any type of coverage that's super centric to the state of Missouri and listen to the frustrations that Missouri Republicans have with the Missouri Republican Party, because there are so many of you. And I watch as you are trying to get these things passed through and the position points that you are able to argue about, I'm so envious of those. And I listen to Democrats in Illinois speaking on frustrations that they have and, just trying to incrementally get one win in a battle somewhere. That's what Republicans feel like in the state of Illinois. So when you look at the Republican Party and everything is always seemingly at this point in time defined by proximity to Donald Trump, I want to shake that because I live in a state that isn't going to be won but could be lost based on Donald Trump because we have Chicago. It's just the reality of the situation. It's not an indictment on the president himself, but the realistic nature with which we need to have these conversations about how to move the party forward have to be understanding that there are a lot of different reasons why people may vote Republican, but there are some very definitive reasons why they may not. There are a lot of reasons why Democrats may say, you know what, in this next election, I might consider a change. There are a lot of reasons why they wouldn't. That's why I'm curious. If you've ever switched political parties, you can vote in the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. And if you have, tell us why. If you're considering it, tell us why. And this could go either way. I'm not interested in only people who are becoming Republicans. Maybe you were a Republican and you don't like that party anymore and you've switched to Democrats. Just tell us your story. We'd love to hear from you. We appreciate all of our listeners. We're going to take a quick break and get the crew back in here when we return in just a few minutes on the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
Procrastination. We've all been there. But have you been dragging your feet when it comes to creating your retirement plan? I've heard it all from, I have time before I need to make a decision, or I'll eliminate debt first and then get ready for retirement. I've seen far too many people waste valuable time for their retirement planning, and I don't want you to be one of them. Hi, I'm Ken Heisey with Heisey Advisory Group. I'm on a mission to help people recognize the potential destructive impact procrastination can have on their retirement plan. Don't procrastinate. Call us today at 314-328-6000 to ensure you get on the right path toward your retirement dream. 314-328-6000. Again, that's 314-328-6000.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Stewart's American Mortgage is where you get the bagel loan. Reach out to Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call or text and ask him how a bagel loan can help you today. He is always trying to take the situation that's going on in the economy right now and figure out how to maximize the benefits that he can provide you when it comes to your mortgage. I mean, always. He's texting me like, what do you think about this idea? Or how can we make this work? And it shows his passion for his industry. The idea your mortgage is going to be your biggest payment that you make every month, isn't it? So if you are looking to purchase a home, you want to make sure that you secure the lowest rate possible. And you don't want to pay all those fees that other lenders out there will charge you to go through the process. He doesn't hide the fees. He doesn't tuck them away. You don't pay them later. They don't exist. That's why you use the bagel loan, which you can only get at Stewart's American Mortgage. 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan. NMLS number 226715.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
AAMCO.
Beat the holiday rush and get the Mark Reardon special. 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $119. You can also get $75 off your air duct cleaning when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to The Del Walmsley Radio Show, Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
He's doing
Due in court at this hour. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A Libyan intelligence official, Abu Aguila Mohammed Massoud, the first suspect in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103, to face charges in the U.S. 34 years after the attack that killed 270 people over Lockerbie, Scotland, including 190 Americans.
This as questions remain about how the U.S. finally got a hold of him. There had been reports last month he'd been seized from his Tripoli, Libya home. A London-based Arab news site says the Libyan government allowed the extradition in exchange for U.S. support for its fragile regime.
Fox's Greg Palcott, Massoud, accused of making the bomb, faces life in prison if convicted. The new mayor of L.A. is pledging a seismic shift in tackling the homeless crisis.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass declares a state of emergency on homelessness.
It is a humanitarian crisis that takes the life of 5 people every day. In every neighborhood, we can see the failures of the status quo. Despair, desperation, human suffering.
Saying the death rate has exceeded that of LA's most tragic natural disasters, including the Northridge earthquake.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Bass says the declaration will speed additional housing and shelter services. She also plans an executive order creating a program to address encampments and restore public spaces. Concern about a triple-demic could bring back masking rules in parts of the U.S.
The reality is there's a real concern that when people come together for the holidays over the coming weeks, that's going to lead to a spike in COVID, flu, and RSV cases. In fact, cases are spiking so much that New York City has already issued a mask advisory strongly recommending, in fact, that people wear a mask indoors in offices and even in schools, but also outdoors in crowded areas.
Fox's Brian Yennis. America is listening to Fox News.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals for Business start now with fresh, limited quantity deals on tech to drive productivity. Save on select performance laptops and desktops powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, plus free shipping on everything, and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service heating and cooling weather.
A changeable sky as we go through our Monday afternoon. We'll be optimistic. Call it a mix of clouds and sunshine. Still chilly, 45. Tonight, cloudy and windy, 32. Tuesday, cloudy and windy with increasing rain and a couple of non-severe thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. 55 on Tuesday, 58 on Wednesday. And then we got some cold air for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Let's talk about the Ruler Foods food drive that we are doing Wednesday. I'm so excited about this, and I need your help. Are you paying attention? West Clay Street in St. Charles, the Ruler Foods right there. We are doing a food drive to benefit the St. Louis Area Food Bank. And I really, really, really want to see all of your faces with a canned good or two or something. You can go into the store there at Ruler Foods. You don't have to bring a bunch of stuff, but if you have a bunch of stuff, we'll take that as well. You can go shop in Ruler Foods there and just bring out what you can do to help. As costs have gone up for everything, I know that it's harder when we go to the grocery store. It's one of the reasons why people shop at Ruler Foods, because they have great brands and you don't have to do all the coupon clipping. This is a great way to save some money on your grocery bill, but also to help those neighbors in need. When you shop at Ruler Foods at that West Clay Street location, we'll be there from noon to 3 this Wednesday, broadcasting live and raising all of these goods for St. Louis Area Food Bank, but we cannot do it without you. Make sure that you get the information at 971talk.com/events to find out how you can support us in this food drive. 971talk.com/events.
If you're like most Americans, you can see things are out of control. Global problems have local consequences, too many of them. And if the next news headline spins us into chaos, you'd better be ready. Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Today's the day to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. And as you'd expect from a true preparedness company, our food kits are in stock and ship quickly. Those who know what's coming are preparing today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
Dell Technologies Days of Deals start now with savings on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Business is difficult right now, putting a lot of good workers at risk. If you're a business that needs flexibility with your workforce and don't want to lose your best employees, go to sharedwork.mo.gov and see what the Missouri Department of Labor can do for you.
Filtering the BS pushed by the mainstream media.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Well, I hope every conservative will want to be leading what is the grand old party, the GOP. We lost too many races. We had candidates that wouldn't defend the things that mattered most. The candidates that won were serious, they were thoughtful, they articulated a vision for taking America forward. They didn't focus on the past, they defended the things that matter most, the things that about America that are worth fighting for. And when our candidates did that, they won, and when they were unable to do that, when they talked about rearward-looking ideas, they almost always lost. And I'm tired of losing. I wish we had control of the United States Senate. I wish we had a president in the White House. I'm counting on us getting both of those back in 2024, and I am certainly going to be around to do my part to try and help make sure that we get that. This isn't liberal or conservative. This is about America, and we got to get it right.
I thought he was going to say this isn't an announcement, but it kind of sounded like when Mike Pompeo, they were talking about how we lost with candidates who focused on the past and that they're tired of losing. Listen to Saturday Night Live react this week.
Raphael Warnock defeated Herschel Walker in Georgia's Senate runoff race. You know, but I don't think this is the last you'll hear from Herschel Walker. I mean, unless he's your biological father. With Raphael Warnock's win, Democrats in the Senate will no longer have to rely on Vice President Harris for tie-breaking votes. Harris can now focus on her main priority, waiting for a worse bike accident.
Okay, whatever. Saturday Night Live trying to make light of Herschel Walker. I think it's interesting to compare how the coverage of Herschel Walker has been throughout all of this, the jokes that are made. And, you know, he's still at the epicenter of a lot of laughs for the left. And, you know, maybe that's if you're going to enter the political realm, you are subjecting yourself to being made fun of. And if you can't handle it, if you're a conservative, you're a Republican and you're running and you can't handle Saturday Night Live making jokes about you, then you're in the wrong business for sure. But it strikes me that the industry is still completely focused on one thing, and that's amusing the echo chamber left. There's no humor to be found because I think it's possible they don't have any of those viewers left on the right who would laugh at the jokes that would absolutely make conservatives laugh. You miss an entire 4 years of opportunity to make fun of Donald Trump in a way that conservatives would have found hilarious. He just took the pitch on that completely. And, you know, these Herschel Walker jokes, that's kind of a passing knock that I can see why it's funny. Herschel Walker's son is the one who came out and trashed him, who's a very outspoken gay conservative minority, happens to be Herschel Walker's son. That's probably where he got his notoriety from, was the fact that he's adjacent to Herschel Walker. Comes out and slams him for being a deadbeat dad. And it's kind of the nail in the coffin for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, something interesting happened when Donald Trump became president, but I don't think it was just him. It was the timing of his presidency. Republicans just stopped trying to make good with a lot of these shows. Because it used to be that especially presidential candidates would go on Saturday Night Live, or they'd go on the late night programs once in a while, or they'd laugh along with, even if they were taking big shots, they'd say, it's all in good fun. Trump and the era of Trump turned that and said, this isn't in good fun anymore. I'm done with being made fun of. I'm done with the one-sidedness.
They aren't making fun. There's no fun. It's
But that's
hate.
a fact. That's a fact.
And I mean, we do it on the show all the time. We make fun of each other on the show all the time. And it's probably one of the things that people who listen with regularity, who are familiar with who we are, they hear our voices and they know I'm Annie and that's Hannah and that's Brad and that's Ryan. They know who we are and they enjoy the fact that we can actually tease each other in fun. If we're doing it and if it crosses a line where people feel like we hate each other, which sometimes I'm teasing you and people message me and they're like, I don't like the way you treat Ryan.
And I'll play it up.
And you do play it up.
Yeah.
I always send those to Ryan because it'll be about a subject that like we maybe have said to each other off air, like, I'm going to go in on you on that. And you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I mean,
But then on air, I'm like, ouch, man, that hurt.
Yeah. And then I get notified by it. And I have people who have, defended me for things that I get picked on. And I think it's hilarious. Like, it's okay because I feel like it's in good fun. If you don't feel like it's in good fun, it's not worth participating in. And it's not in good fun from the left who runs the entire show. And I'm not talking Saturday Night Live show. I'm talking like lowercase SHOW, all of it.
It's been like that for a while, though. I think since George W. Bush-ish era, it has been where it's not real. There's some fun there, but it drifted so far over the span of maybe Obama's. It's not a hard line for these things. But by the time Trump was there was no fun left in it. It was just, we're going to be a political activist show. We're going to go all in on you and try to destroy you. And you're going to laugh along with us, right? Oh, no, you're not anymore? Oh, okay.
See the blindness of a comment like this from Topher. Sorry, Topher, on YouTube, but I'm calling you out. Herschel Walker, as a Senate candidate, was a walking, talking SNL skit. And then he writes, ... Surely you see that. Of course I see it, but you can't only do it when it's Herschel Walker, who's a Republican. Donald Trump is a walking, talking SNL skit. Yes, I get that. I just said that, Topher. We are on the same page, but so is Joe Biden. So is Kamala Harris. So are so many of these people who are in the media, who are lapdogs for a narrative that is the most important thing to Saturday Night Live. Comedy isn't it. You're more invested and more married to the idea of making sure that above all things, the narrative is hammered home on a Saturday night. I'm not staying up till 11:35 at night to watch you hate me. I'm just not. But if we want to go into it together and trade jabs back and forth about Joe Biden being, I don't even want to say, like, I was going to say Joe Biden being a bumbling idiot in the White House. And I actually don't I don't play a lot of his clips that I could, where a lot of people are playing him trying to get through a point and he can't do it and he's pronouncing things wrong and he can't read the teleprompter, because I don't find that funny. And if I play it here so that you can consume that and laugh with me about it, there are people who don't find that funny, and I'm not interested in putting that out there in this space on this show to get laughs, because it's not humorous to me. I'm making a choice there. But there still is if that were Donald Trump, he said covfefe in a tweet and was persecuted relentlessly over it. And that's a funny thing. But in the context of who Donald Trump is, that's why it was funny. When Joe Biden is out there and he's behaving the way he is and he's saying the things he's saying and he's approaching women like in physical presence and grabbing their shoulder. Like if Donald Trump did that stuff, they would go in on Trump, but they don't go in on Joe Biden. That's the point here, is that there is an ideology that it supersedes making people laugh of all thought processes and all ideologies. They're not interested in making everyone laugh. They're interested in dividing people and doing what mean girls in junior high do. You can't sit here. And then they make sure that everybody knows that you can't sit here. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. On Saturdays, we wear blue. That's really the idea of Saturday Night Live, is making sure that people know that they're welcome. You have inside jokes. Everybody laughs at those inside jokes. And if you don't laugh at them, you're not supposed to, because you weren't included in the first place. You're not invited to the parties. Republicans don't want to be invited to these parties, but you have to understand that Republicans want to be invited to some parties or be able to have their own, even if it's not involved in the same thing that Saturday Night Live is doing. That's where we bring the Twitter files in. You're not allowed to, because in the back rooms, they keep you from even being able to rent out the space.
Well, it's the nature of comedy. What you're saying is, as we've all seen, Joe Biden and many others, let's say Adam Schiff, that guy would be super easy to parody. It would be super funny to do a parody of Adam Schiff. And they parodied everybody. It's not like he was too deep of a character to do. They could have done him. There's all this material and they just pass on it. And they go after nothing. Did anybody watch the episode this weekend at all?
No.
Man, I watched the cold open. I didn't see much of the Steve Martin and Martin Short stuff, but the cold open did not include them. It was just about how everybody has mental health problems and it's Christmas. And they sang a song. And I want to, as a person who appreciates good writing, I want to, excuse me, I want to see these things because I want to try to enjoy them if there's anything there to enjoy. And there just wasn't anything. It was sad and the comedy was bad and it was depressing and it was terrible. So hopefully Steve Martin and Martin Short came and livened the show up. But man, that cold open was terrible.
I think your Mean Girls picture is perfect. Because it's not about, it's literally not about getting laughs. It's about cutting the other person. And you can hear it. And you have to have that established relationship with the people beforehand. So when me and my buddies get together, whenever we play games, Monday nights at my game night, that's when me and my buddies get together, we rag on one another mercilessly. But we know we're coming from a place of love because we have that prior relationship, that prior friendship, and then we do it, and nobody believes that they're doing it to try to hurt it. And you can hear it in somebody's voice whenever they tell you, whenever they do this. When you listen to these jokes, for example, the Herschel Walker joke, that's not really that funny to call somebody a horrible father. That's not the joke there. The joke, when it's funny, is it's sarcasm. It's sarcasm. So it would be like me calling Ryan a horrible father, even though Ryan is a very good father. That's where the humor comes in that. And that's not the point. The point is that you know that Herschel Walker is the horrible father. And then to get the laugh, it's for, like you were saying, the mean girls, the other girls that sit at the table, the plastics. It's for them. It's for the 3 or 4 other people that are in the in-group so that they can laugh at the person, not at the joke, but at how mean we were to that person and how bad we made that person feel.
There isn't... In comedy, there isn't a place can you think of who's a comedian who is a comedian for the sake of pushing conservative jokes?
Gosh, just conservative jokes?
Whose bread and butter is flexing on conservatism in jokes?
I can think of some Christian comedians whose bread and butter is the Christian world.
But that's different.
That's not quite the same thing. I can't think of anybody offhand. There's got to be somebody, but I can't think of anybody offhand who.
The irony to me is that those who feel to the consumer, the listener, the audience member, that they're kind of leaning conservative, are those who advocate for free speech. And I don't understand how you can be a comedian in a world where speech is policed. Because generally speaking, the things that are funniest are the things that are said by comedians that are like, whoa, you just said that. You just did that. And to me, I can consume comedians of all walks of life, of all ideologies, and listen to them speak on issues that don't have to align with my ideologies. I just like listening to people say things that other people aren't comfortable saying out loud. And like I said, I've said this many times before, but I really appreciate what comedy does for me to be able to pull the curtain back and learn about people who don't walk the pretty beige, boring lifestyle that I walk, and to understand other people or other cultures or the way other people see the same world that I'm living in, but from a very different set of circumstances and perspectives. I get to learn that way. Always slamming on one ideology is something that I feel is subsidized by the left more than it is the right, mostly because there aren't really very many spaces for the right to do that. The chat is suggesting, well, we'll always have Gutfeld. Well, we do, and his viewership, and especially if you consider the length and longevity of Gutfeld as a nighttime show and understand its immediate instant success, makes me wonder what that space would look like if he had to compete. Because the competition would be what would make Gutfeld even better. People show up to watch Gutfeld because the other options that are out there are all the same. He's the only one out there doing what he's doing. And there are times where Gutfeld, like, he takes jabs and he takes very, like, ad hominem personal attacks. It's not really my style. But I was just telling you how I like to consume comedy from all different levels. And what he's doing isn't, it's more news than it is comedy, really. Their subject matter is 9 out of 10 times based on the news cycle, and they react to it in a looser way that allows a priority of conservative thinking in reaction to the news stories that are out there, but they do it in a way that is different than what you're going to see at 3 o'clock on any of the cable news networks. But imagine if you talked about Dana Carvey in your Wiggins America segment at 12:45, and Dana Carvey filled in for Jimmy Kimmel weeks ago, and he made jokes about everybody. And since it was Dana Carvey, it was almost like people were like, we'll allow it. Mm-hmm. Because it's Dana Carvey, and he's lovable. And he made us all laugh as the church lady, as, what was he, George Bush, and George H.W. Bush.
Yeah.
And then he did, in a debate that they were doing for Saturday Night Live in their practice, he was George H.W. Bush, and then they had somebody in there playing Ross Perot, and he's like, no, you got to do it like this. And then he filled it, and then they're like, well, now you got to be Ross Perot too. I mean, he was able to do all of these different characters, and it never, to me, it has never felt, listening to Dana Carvey, like he was hating or making fun of in a way that was not fun, but just hate-centric. It just didn't. And I don't know if I just accepted him at a younger, more stupid age, or if he never really did it with hate in his heart. But when he stepped in for Jimmy Kimmel and he was doing impressions of all sorts of different people, I just thought, how refreshing would it be to be able to turn on a Dana Carvey show that would be competing with Gutfeld in a way that would maybe be a little more entertainment-centered, but be able to poke fun at everybody anytime for any particular reason, Republicans included. Actually, Republicans encouraged, but do it in a way that is for the sake of comedy, not for the sake of a narrative, not for the sake of hate. Love to know what you all think about it. You can reach out to us on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and comment and vote in the YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever switched political parties? Yes or no? Guys, I got the first installment here of our unboxing that we're going to do the week of Christmas, and it is called the Brit Kit. Winter 2022. It says, I'm fragile, handle with care. And I don't know what's in this box. I'm going to save it for when we do an unboxing. Like I said, next week we will do this. If you have a product or something that you make or whatever, you want to send us something and be a part of this unboxing, we'd love to give an opportunity for people to promote some of their own little side hobbies, side hustles, or whatever it might be. Maybe it's your full-time job and what you pour your heart and soul into. You can send it to the Odyssey radio station here at 1220 Olive Street in St. Louis, and we will unbox all of these together next week. So you got to get your stuff in fast. You can drop it off or mail it to us, and we'd love to feature your small business. Just send it to the Annie Frey Show here at Odyssey St. Louis. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Frey Show. We'll do a little recap of the Kill Meat event when we come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show.
Better show me teasing, squeezing, raising kind of time.
For whatever Christmas vibe you're feeling, the free Odyssey app has the music you're looking for.
Celebrate the season with Odyssey with pop Christmas classics.
Women of Christmas, Alterna Christmas, R&B Christmas, Santa songs, and more.
Christmas is on the Odyssey app. Download it now, search for holiday stations, and celebrate the season with Odyssey.
That's AUDACY. Odyssey.
Dental care is something that gets postponed sometimes based on just your busy schedule, or maybe the fact that you got something going on in your mouth, or you just don't really love the dentist. Foley Dental Group knows that. They have embraced that, and they have built an entire practice with amazing dentists at Foley Dental Group, centered around taking you and your personal experience and making you comfortable at Foley Dental Group. They give you a different experience than you're going to get anywhere else, and it is evident in their brand new facility right there at 270 and 159 in Illinois. It's easy to get to from anywhere around the bi-state region. If you're looking for the best in dental care, it's worth a drive. 270 and 159, brand new building. They treat people, not just your mouth, so they're going to pay attention to your whole health care. They're going to be able to help you with implants and dentures, and if you have sleep disordered breathing for adults, for kiddos, they can help you with that process too. They include Invisalign in that as well. If you're looking for the very best in dental care and a comfortable place to go that's taking new patients, it's Foley Dental Group, 618-288-9670, FoleyDentalGroup.com.
Hi, my name is Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair. In honor of our newest location in Cottleville, for any new customers, simply come into any of our 6 locations and ask us to pay the first $50, and we will. That's right. That means brakes, suspension, alignments, air conditioning, even our auto body work. Please come see our team or visit us at CompleteAB.com. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Guys, 2022's been a roller coaster year, so spoil her this Christmas by giving her the next best thing to wearing nothing at all with soft, silky, naturally nude pajamas exclusively from Pajamagram. Sensuous and smooth, naturally nude pajamas feel just like her own bare skin, even more alluring than lingerie. The texture and touch of these pajamas is so seductive that you'll both love the feel of them. She'll love the feeling of wearing next to nothing at all, and you'll love the way they look. Best of all, Pajamagram does the wrapping for you with free gift packaging. Order today, and Pajamagram will also include a free matching naturally nude nightie with the purchase of naturally nude pajamas. That is free gift packaging and a free naturally nude nightie when you order today. Just go to Pajamagram.com. It's fast, easy, and delivery by Christmas is guaranteed. That's Pajamagram.com.
This holiday season, Diamonds Direct gives you the gift of 0% interest financing for 3 years on any purchase. With high prices and high interest rates everywhere else, Diamonds Direct is here with the incredible shopping experience you need. Our guaranteed best value prices will save you money. And with 0% interest, you can spread your payments over 3 years with no finance charge, period. And for this holiday season, we're showcasing an expanded selection of affordable and timeless holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, colored gemstones, and if you're upgrading her diamond or getting engaged over the holidays, we have one of the largest diamond selections in America. All sizes and shapes, all cut for maximum brilliance, and all offered at our amazing direct importer, no middleman prices. Check out our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Buy now or come into the showroom. Let one of our experts guide you in finding the holiday gift that's at the top of their list. And enjoy 3 years zero interest financing on any holiday purchase. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Hey, this is Brian Kilmeade. If you're wondering if America has ever been here before, get my book, The President and Freedom Fighter. It's about the heroes that rise up in our darkest times. Go to 971talk.com, 971talk.com to order a copy for Christmas.
This is The Annie Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Many days fell away with nothing to show, and the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love. Great clouds all over the hills. if you close your eyes.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Glad that you're here with us. I got a little bit of a black eye, a little bit of a shiner. Ryan, we're going to go around the room, and I'll let you go first. What's the most likely reason I have a black eye?
You were so passionate about one of your child's games that you yelled something and somebody, quote unquote, accidentally threw a ball at you.
And it was Jared. Brad?
I think you were probably sitting in your living room holding Molly, talking to your family, you know, around a nice roaring fire because you have a fireplace, and I'm jealous of that.
Gas.
And,
she's got gas.
But apparently it's still real fire, so.
It is.
Yeah.
And while you were sitting there, some crazed person threw a brick through your window, and in your haste to block,
I did not know where this was
in
going.
your haste to cover Molly, you were hit with the brick in the eye.
Anna?
I guess that your dog, Rosie, you guys were playing and she hit you.
Hannah, no.
With her fist.
Yeah.
Her little dog
fist. As soon as I was
left-handed, too. Wow.
Wow.
I have a dog. What? Rosie?
What?
Did you say Rosie hit
She
me?
said Rosie.
But did you say with her fist?
Yeah.
Like Rosie's fist?
Yeah, with Rosie's fist. That's what I said.
Do dogs have fists?
Well, that's what was funny.
Rosie
was
does.
that they
She's
don't.
wild.
Throwing paws.
Brad was really on the right track there. Molly, until the brick part.
Yeah, that's where it took a hard turn.
I had Molly on my lap, and she went and bashed me with her. It honestly happened so fast. I don't even know what part of her hit me in my eyebrow. Can you kind of see like?
I can see the lump.
I see
the
it now.
bump. Yeah.
People probably think I just did my makeup bad because I didn't have someone here to do it for me today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, use contour better on that.
Probably. I didn't even put anything on it because it hurt so bad. This hurt. I think it was her skull, and it immediately hurt so bad. And if I scrunch my eyes like that, it hurts again. It hurt so bad. I was closing my eyes, but I couldn't tell if she hurt herself. And so I'm not talking to you. Stop. I hate that stupid
Shut
thing on your
up,
phone.
Siri.
Golly. No, I don't have Siri.
Shut up, Alexa.
No. She can talk.
Google?
Yeah, just don't say okay before it or something. Or maybe Bixby.
Okay.
Alexa, order Ryan presents.
Ryan's
Ryan
around
Wiggins.
the Bi-State region.
Yes.
She hit me so hard. I had my eyes closed, eyes watering, and oh man, I couldn't believe how much it hurt because I didn't think that with the impact that it should really hurt that bad. But I'm with it being super puffy right now. I feel like maybe she busted something I don't know. I'm making stuff up, like a blood vessel maybe.
I think that's what the swelling actually is. Up there.
And so I was closing my eyes and I was just waiting for her to cry.
But she didn't.
But she didn't. She was fine.
Because she was
she was still, I could tell she was still moving around. So
throwing
she
her head around.
Knocked herself out. She was
wasn't
fine. I couldn't see her, But it hurt so bad. And then I got this lump on it right away. And I don't know how long it's going to take for that to go down.
I always wished I could actually headbutt people.
What?
Like you see it in the movies and you're like, man, that's awesome. He didn't even.
Of all of the things that you've seen in movies, that's your wish.
Kind of. Yeah. Some guy walks up to another guy and doesn't even bring the fist around. So the guy's never expecting it. Just wham, right in the face with his head. That's not what Molly did. I'm not suggesting that.
I don't know. I had my eyes closed.
For that moment, though, that she hit you, for the first
with her head,
2 seconds, are you super mad at her?
No.
Because whenever that happens to me, one of my kids, right? Because now my youngest is 5. So I'll go down to maybe sometimes pick him up or hug him or something, and he'll be excited to see me or excited for whatever I'm talking about and jump and then wham right into the bottom of my chin
How
or
many
whatever.
times has that happened?
Oh, 10.
Maybe don't do that anymore.
I'm learning my lesson because he's not changing.
Doesn't sound like it.
But whenever it happens for about a split
You're
second,
mad at him?
I am so mad. And then I collect myself like, oh, well, he didn't mean to do that. I still love him.
I just kept going, oh!
Did she feel bad?
I had my eyes closed. I kept waiting for her to react. And she's 18 months now. She was 18 months as of this weekend.
Wow.
So 1.5 years, folks. Time flies. And I kept waiting to see if she would kind of start to do that guilt cry type of thing. She did not feel guilty. But she was kind of sitting, when I finally got my eye to open, I mean, it was a good 60 seconds before, because it was just super throbbing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you can get hit maybe in the nose and it immediately makes your eyes water. And it's weird because like the impact isn't that hard, but there's just a place where you can get hit and it just kind of takes over. Like that was on my eyebrow, but strange. And I opened my eyes and she was just staring at me like what's the matter with you? And then I just said, I go, you hurt me. Can I have a hug? Because we're trying to teach her to say sorry and to hug so that we can, because in our house, it's important to say, we always make people apologize by saying, I'm sorry. And my husband and I do this as well, but we don't allow the other person to say, it's okay. You have to say, I forgive you, because that is the most important part for us in our house. Because if you're willing to forgive someone, then we need to move past it. Because if you're willing to forgive, and I also don't want, if somebody does something bad and they say you're sorry, it doesn't make it okay.
That's true.
As a principle.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want them to get, that seems small and subtle, but the consistency of I am sorry and I forgive you is something that has been a principle that we've tried. I don't know where as a parenting objective, that's something that I read or maybe heard somebody else say at one point. And it was always very important for me to do those two things and to not say it's okay, because you can forgive somebody who did something to you that is not okay. Mm-hmm. And you should probably work to try to forgive. There are people in my life who I have forgiven for things that they have done to me that were absolutely not okay. There are things that people have done to me that I am still praying to get to the place where I can forgive them. And if I did, it wouldn't make what they did okay. And there are certainly times where I have done things or had arguments with my husband or angry moments with my kids, and I've had to ask for their forgiveness. And I don't want them to think that how I treated them in that instance, that it was okay. And that you forgiving me is saying that it's okay, because I don't want that to happen again.
That is an important distinction that you just made. I don't even know if you made it. But between being able to forgive, because a lot of times you're in a moment where somebody has done something so, at least in your perspective, so egregious that it's going to be really tough to ever forgive them, that going through the motions of just saying, you know what, I forgive that person, and not feeling it at all is a huge first step.
Yeah.
Because it's like you see the whole Yellow Brick Road and Emerald City's way out there. If you never even say, okay, I forgive them, you're never even going to start that journey. Because you're not going to feel it till you get there, but it's a long way to get there.
We've discussed this before, but, Brad, does somebody have to be sorry for you to forgive them?
No. I, from a biblical standpoint, you are to forgive as you were forgiven. So,
and forgiven
by Christ. So whenever you say that, and this is from a biblical standpoint, the Bible says
Brad
that,
is a pastor for people who don't know that.
Yes. The Bible says that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Mm-hmm. So we were still sinners. We were still in our sin. We were still actively sinning against him, and he still provided the method for forgiveness. That's our same role if we're supposed to forgive our enemies in the way that we were forgiven. I think that's in the Lord. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We need to forgive people in the same way that we were forgiven. So that means that we don't have to wait for them to say that they're sorry. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You're to provide the method of forgiveness for them, which is, like Ryan saying, sometimes the very first thing is just like, I'm going to act like I have forgiven this person until you can make yourself emotionally do it.
That is the part that I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on things.
Do you? Really? You should have a show.
But I mean, that expands to all points of my life. Like here from noon to 3, I'm here to talk to you, to inform you, to entertain you. And it's all based on my worldview and my perspective. And that sounds incredibly egocentric, which is why I try to overemphasize the idea that other people, that this is where I come from, but this isn't the only worldview that exists. And I know that mine is a piece of a much, much, much larger puzzle. But I certainly do have thoughts and opinions, and I study and I pay attention to and I dig into things. And in my life, it becomes incredibly difficult if I feel strongly that a wrong occurred and people are oblivious to it. Or it's easier for those people who were participants in that wrong, or who were maybe not participants in it, but maybe people who had the opportunity to stand up and do something about it, and they took the pitch on it and they just didn't, or didn't follow through with it. to be in a position where there is no remorse and no spoken apology, or like, even when we talk about like, what if they don't ask for forgiveness? If I have done something to my kids, to my husband, or, to anybody in my life, to you guys, if I am in a position to ask for forgiveness and I receive it, that is so incredibly freeing, because it's an acknowledgement of something that happened, but it's also a resolution of something that has happened. So to provide that forgiveness, whether it's a small thing or in many cases a big thing, and that's usually based on like relationship, maybe in a marital relationship or a family relationship or a professional relationship or something where you're in a community with somebody else, to step up to the plate and be ready to hand that forgiveness over when there's nobody standing there to receive it can be impossible. And it tends to be the thing that it's always kind of lingering. It's always kind of there. And then if you run into that person in Walmart and you're like just looking for toilet paper, and in the toilet paper aisle, there's the person who, like, now all of a sudden this adventure into Walmart to get toilet paper has turned into this massive thing not because really it's easy to say, well, they haven't asked for forgiveness. Mm-hmm. If they asked for forgiveness in the toilet paper aisle, would I be prepared to just provide that to them? If you're not preparing your heart to do that before you stumble into the toilet paper aisle with them, then you still have a responsibility to do that. And I say that as somebody who absolutely has a responsibility to be doing that in my heart right now. To you, Ryan Wiggins. You want to go to the toilet paper aisle?
You buying?
No, I'm kidding. But I'm not kidding about the part where, like, preparing yourself to forgive and being willing to forgive and offering that forgiveness when it's not being sought after. Incredibly freeing if you can do it. Incredibly difficult to do.
The goal of forgiveness is reconciliation. That's why when you're teaching your kids, I'm sorry, I forgive you, the relationship is reconciled. So to do that, it's just like you're saying, you have to prepare yourself to forgive. And then on the other end, for that relationship to be reconciled, that person has to then accept that forgiveness. And you can only control what you do. So you prepare your heart to forgive.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a good time to do it, though, this Christmas season, the holiday season, when you are thinking about all these relationships that are important to your life and also the things that hold you back and hold you down. There's one other instance where I do that with my kids, where I don't allow them to say a specific thing in response, a very, very common thing. I'll tell you what that is when we come back, and then we'll get the results of today's YouTube live chat poll. Have you ever switched political parties? Has anyone in here ever switched political parties? We'll answer that question as well on the Annie Frey Show when we come back. Don't go away.
We were caught up and lost in all of our vices.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Hey, here's a holiday gift from Bed Bath & Beyond. Between now and Christmas, get 25% off your entire purchase by texting JOY to 239663. That's 239663. New offers every day at Bed Bath & Beyond. Exclusions apply. See website for details.
Slim 180 is looking to help you lose weight this holiday season right now. If you don't want to put it off, cheers to you. Go get it. If you want to purchase a savings opportunity right now and start when you're ready, Slim is there to help you. MySlim180.com is the website. They have a ton of amazing opportunities for you to save, and they're going to have a really big one in between Christmas and New Year's, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. $180 off the nutritional guidance program. That ends December 19th. You can do a Slim 180 with My Slim 180 and save $180 on that nutritional guidance program. They have a 12 days of Christmas specials that are starting right now. You can check out their website, MySlim180.com, to learn about it. And 20% off the full HCG drops program, the Crave or Regenerate program through the 19th. To anybody who mentions the Annie Frey Show, reach out to Slim 180. Ask them how they can help you. Let them tell you about the different options that they can cater to your goals, to your needs, and be sure to drop the Annie Frey Show name when you go in there to save money. Go to MySlim180.com.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling and Insulation Studio. Make sure your furnace is ready to safely heat your home this fall. For heating service, repairs, or a new HVAC system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
What is the future of conservatism? Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts has some thoughts. He joins me Monday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy that you're here with us. Thanks for giving us some of your afternoon. We're talking about, as a parenting thing, what I do with my kids is if somebody does something wrong to somebody else in the house, I make them say I'm sorry. And, well, I wait for them to say I'm sorry or to apologize. And then the response in our household has to be, I forgive you, if forgiveness is to be offered. I don't like the response, it's okay, because that dismisses the thing that was being apologized for. And I think it's important that you can forgive somebody for doing something that wasn't okay. Because it kind of, by virtue of saying I'm sorry, I forgive you, means that initial thing was not okay. The other thing that we do in our household is respond to thank you with you're welcome, which I think is kind of a lost art. If somebody says to you, if you did something nice to me, and I said, thank you, Ryan.
Hypothetically.
In the event that would happen.
It's hard to find an example,
and
so
I go,
we're just speaking in hypotheticals.
Thanks, Ryan.
Dang, Ryan.
And you go, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're welcome can sound dismissive, even in like a real context. If you said thank you to me and I said, you're welcome, a lot of people will be like, oh, it's nothing, or it's no big deal. You dismiss the gratitude that's expressed because people are trying to... It's not something that's done out of disrespect. It's just the way that the conversation has gone and the way people react to the words thank you. Saying that you're welcome is a nice way to say that I did this for you because you are welcome. You know what I'm saying? And the idea that we do nice things for people, it's nice to be able to say to somebody who shows gratitude for something that you did that you are welcome here. And I think that phrase, to say like, oh, it's nothing, that's dismissive of what you did. And it kind of, it's like diminishes the act of generosity or kindness that was made. And I really feel like we should emphasize those acts of kindness and generosity because it's in such a selfish society, those selfless acts you should say thank you. And the person should tell you that the gratitude, you are grateful that the gratitude has been expressed, but you did it because you're happy to. Not that it was nothing, or the other one is, oh no, thank you. Yeah, just go, like, who gets the last thank you?
You just keep going back and forth until
Forever.
somebody dies. I'm just realizing that I go all in on the thank you or on the you're welcome. So if somebody thanks me for something, I'm looking them right here, right in the eye. You're welcome. Because that's it's going
Can't
too far.
unsee that.
Right? Right? No, but what I actually do is say, sure, or yeah, or no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever say you're welcome unless it's a joke, like I just did to Brad.
That doesn't mean, and I'm not saying that to suggest that if you're doing those other things that you're doing it wrong, but I actually think that the phrase you're welcome expresses something bigger than no problem or it's nothing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm picturing my kids doing it because they have been taught at some point, either by us or teachers or somebody, to say you're welcome when somebody says thank you. And when they say it, it seems very nice and very genuine because you can tell that they did something that they intended to do for you.
Yep.
And when you say thank you, they're saying you're welcome.
Can
I'm
I
glad
ask
you
you,
acknowledge
like, does it mean more if the person says you're welcome because it kind of signifies that they, like, oh, it's no big deal. That kind of belittles what they did for you.
No, it belittles what you did for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no-
Like the highlighting of, I did this for you. Like, I wanted you to know that I have some sort of care for you, so I did something nice for you, and you're welcome to that.
Mm-hmm. That's why I go all in on the you're welcome.
Just slow pause and a
Hey.
one octave lower. Oh, and a hey.
Right here. You're welcome.
Don't ever say that. Like, never mind.
Yeah. You're going to train your kids to do something else now.
I forgive you. Anybody
Thank
in here? Anybody in here ever switched political parties? Ryan?
I've been a Republican since I was like 4.
In utero?
Yeah, I sit here and I think about it, and I'm trying to think back. And no, I don't count any time that I thought or held any more liberal views as any time that I was actually thinking politically. So no, I've never.
I was raised in a Christian conservative home, so I think that I mean, I was watching Rush Limbaugh before Star Trek with my dad when I was in like second grade, maybe. But I can mark my junior high American history class with Mr. Lindsay as the time where I actually understood for myself for the first time what it meant to be a Republican. And so the first time, because we had a mock debate, it was the year 2000. I was George W. Bush, and Gretchen had to represent Al Gore, but we weren't allowed to name ourselves. We only had to articulate in a debate in high school in front of all of the grade schools that came to watch our debate. Issues were discussed. I was Annie. She was Gretchen. We represented the different political platforms. Thank God I somehow got tasked with George W. Bush, and we had to debate, and then the students had to vote based on our debate without knowing she's the Republican, she's the Democrat, she's George Bush, she's Gore. So I had to study this and be able to, in a debate fashion, articulate it. And I was like, I remember going through my note cards and being like, I actually believe all these are the right policies, you know? And 2000 was an interesting time. And so I remember choosing it for myself, but I never would have ever been like, oh yeah, I'm a total lib.
It's interesting. I remember, as far back as I can remember thinking about politics, because who knows exactly when that starts. But I think
Tuesday last week.
Was it last week?
Oh.
Before that, I just did pure comedy. I remember thinking
I forgive you.
that I was more, and I didn't know how to communicate this, but I remember thinking that I was actually more conservative than my parents. So it wasn't even
all right, Alex P. Keaton.
Yeah, it wasn't even that they
Alex
were
P. Wiggins.
Telling me like this and that. I remember coming to conclusions and then thinking, I think my parents are actually a little bit. They were not that they were liberal. They were just kind of, especially my dad was just kind of middle of the road.
I have never switched my political party. I have always been a Republican. So the YouTube poll is asking, have you ever switched your political party? Yes or no, with over 175 votes. 56% of the people said no, they have never switched their political party. 44% of the people said that they have. Ton of comments coming in. Mark Reed said, I've switched parties a couple of times. Been conservative in my voting life, voted for Obama in 2008 after being at war, switched to Republican in 2012, Trump in 2016 and 2020, but now I'm a free agent, more center. Quick Rick said, LOL, I switched from Democrat to Republican when I started paying taxes, never looked back. I think that's a common theme. Yeah. James said, I could have been considered a Democrat when I was younger, as were my parents. I am now conservative for life. I'm 71.
Conservatarian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Libertarian, conservative.
Oh, okay.
That means,
sorry, I didn't
I'll
mean
sum
to...
up. Fiscally conservative, socially either apathetic or liberal or libertarian.
Hands off.
I needed to say that correctly. Elaine Moore from YouTube said, I left the Democrats over 20 years ago. David Harrison from YouTube said, I was born into a Democratic Party family, but military service and President Reagan influenced me to change to a Republican. Bill from YouTube said, no, I have held conservative and traditional values my whole life and don't ever see that changing. Ray from YouTube said, I was raised a Democrat and turned into a Republican once I grew up and started paying attention.
I sat next to a guy in a bar in Quebec City once. Did not speak a whole lot of English.
This is a really easy story to fit. Go ahead.
And he was talking politics, but he had a deep French accent. He said, I used to be for revolution, but and I grow up and I say, it costs too much.
And we sum up. That's a great summation of the whole process. Well, we appreciate you each day coming to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and voting and leaving your thoughts and comments there. And tomorrow we'll have another poll, so stick around for that. We got Jason Chaffetz on the show tomorrow. Excited about that, as well as Mike Davis, who is a lawyer and an expert. He's going to talk to us about the Eric Schmidt lawsuit also. Jim Carafano joins us, too, on the Annie Frey Show. Packed show on Tuesday and Wednesday, that food drive. Make sure you go to 971talk.com/events to find out all the details. But we'll be at the West Clay Street Ruler Foods in St. Charles, and we really hope to see you. Come out and join us noon to 3 when it's convenient for you, and make a donation to help your neighbors. Mark Reardon Show up next.
Do you know how much of your life savings you could lose in the next market downturn? Are you okay with the stock market controlling your financial future